Welcome, everybody, to Perpetual Backlog Podcast, your surprisingly weekly gaming podcast that we can keep up every week for some reason. That will hopefully get you through your backlog. I'm your host, Aqua, like usual, and joining me, like usual, is Dalit.
Hey guys, if it is our fate to perish, so too is it our fate to fight.
And Lee.
I made too much pasta before this, so I'm a bit full. Bye.
But this episode's going to be a little different again. We had a big showing this weekend with the Final Fantasy XIV digital fan festival. So it's only right to get on a special guest. For all our 14 related stuff, we always go to Mr. Ethys Asher. How you doing?
Hey, hi guys. Yeah, you're finally big and important enough to warrant me appearing again.
A second time? Yeah.
Wow.
I was about to say that doesn't really work, does it?
First time you just be fucking nice and charitable. I see.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Everyone gets one, right?
All right, Spider-Man.
Mm.
All right.
Yeah, well, Spider-Man did say so.
Yeah.
Mm.
This is going to be like the last time we had him on, except we're going to cut out most, like all of the news, pretty much, and just talk about 14 in the later half.
Yes.
But before we get into that, I would like to ask everybody that's watching this, please hit that big red button down at the bottom of the screen that says subscribe. It is very free and only costs you the slight bit of energy of moving your index finger to press your mouse button. And it helps us a lot. And you'll be doing Ethys a favor.
Yes. You will actually. I was about to say, if you let me shill for a moment,
Yeah, go
if
ahead.
any of you guys are here because I've directed you here and you want to hear me ramble about some FanFest some more, you honestly would be doing me a personal favor to give these guys a sub, because every single one of these three jabronis have been supporting me for like 5 or 6 years now as, moderators and, community people, and just like, personal friends and advisors and people that I've lent on time and time again. And they're really kicking butt with this podcast, and they've got like a really good consistent thing going. And even if you're not planning on listening to every single episode week in, week out, you do want to give them a sub, because you can't monetize anything on YouTube when you're under 1,000 subs. And if you get to the point where you can start making a little bit of ad revenue back to put into the show, then I think that these three talented people are going to be able to do some really, really exceptional stuff. So again, I would consider it a personal favor to me if you do go ahead and give them a sub. So thanks in advance.
Yeah. Thank you.
Very much, as a matter of fact.
In not advance, because
Yeah.
right now, yeah. So the common thing that we all did this week is we sat in front of a monitor and watched a very long broadcast for a video game, which we would have liked to do in person, but because of COVID, we couldn't. So we're gonna skip that for the end for the second half of the show. Did any of you guys play any video games this weekend?
Well, specifically this weekend, I watched you know what, but I did actually play a bit of Monster Hunter and Guilty Gear.
Okay.
That's what I did. Yeah. I was beating up some monsters. Actually doing it by myself this time.
Mm.
Stand on my
Hey.
own 2 feet and beat up stuff. I'm a big girl.
She's my big
Uh,
huntress.
Yeah, no, and like Guilty Gear Strive is in its second beta now. That's a lot of fun. They actually improved a lot of. Lobby isn't perfect still, but it is a bit better than before. I am getting a bit of a delay with inputs when I'm playing online with friends, but it's fine. I can practice by myself just fine in the training room. There's no delay there. But alas. Hopefully that'll improve a bit more once it's in full release, though. I love me a bit of
Well,
fighty
we're
game.
gonna have more feedback.
Mm.
My weekend was very similar, actually. I did in fact mess around in the Guilty Gear beta. I had a very good opportunity to pick up Handsome Boy, aka Anjimito, the man who wears virtually nothing. Good to see he's mostly intact from what we know. I played the Fantasy Star Online New Genesis beta quite a bit, and boy,
Ooh.
oh boy, that feels like butt.
It looked good too, from what I saw. Yeah.
It's very,
my
very much butter.
goodness.
Very
Yeah,
much
I watched him
butter.
play a bit. It's pretty.
Yeah, I played a cast fighter, and boy, oh boy, I love literally just playing character action games, and that's what it turned into. Literally dodging through attacks and becoming just an anime character. Flurry of fists everywhere. It was great.
Yeah.
Looks wonderful.
Mhm.
It's a
I heard
good
from a couple of people that
shot
it was
in the
like it felt really poorly optimized on PC.
I
PSO2
actually
always
didn't run into
feels
that.
poorly optimized on PC, period.
Oh,
Mm.
yes. To be fair, I was going in under the understanding that it was still Fantasy Star Online. This is not the same experience
Yeah.
as 14%.
Mhm.
But if you're familiar with the series at all, it is certainly smoother than the base game, I feel. I think that might just be down to the animations having more frames in every.
Mm. Nice.
Well, it kept a mostly high frame rate. There were a couple of weird spikes, mostly in the main hub, I guess I'll call it, with all the people. Obviously, we're going to see a bit of tanking out in the world when you are cut off from the unwashed masses, and you're just free to throw yourself into a bloodlust rage. Yeah, no, that's wonderful. My goodness, it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I really like character action games, and that's pretty much what this has now been turned into. So
Yeah, the character creation was a bit odd because they separated some of the assets that you could select, right, with the PSO and the NG versions.
Yeah, that's a good call. I tried to make one of the two characters I had from PSO2, and we did find out, yeah, that there is a split during character creation. You can't mix and match, as it were, and that was weird to me.
You know,
But-
Dolet, with that vague but rather glowing recommendation, I think you've probably sold me harder on PSO2 than anyone ever has.
Well,
I'm feeling it,
if
man.
if you want to look at the character creation, I do have a video up of going through it and making my character.
He does.
It's on the
Oh.
Perpetual Backlog YouTube channel.
There you
Yeah.
go.
To
There's
have a
that
gander.
conversion rate optimization. Well
Yeah,
done.
there is a video. It's an 18-minute video, and I am going through and looking at pretty much almost all of the options.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Hey.
So please clear me up on a certain thing, Code, because they did say during like a development stream or something like that, you could like transfer character or
In the main game. In the main
Yeah.
game, you'll be able to link the account, your PSO2 account, with New Genesis, and you'll be able to bring pretty much everything that you have, other than like Meseta, which is the money, and and a few other things. But you can literally just so when you bring up the screen, like in the beta, when you brought up the screen to like pick your character or whatever, you clicked on the name of your character, and it says play NGS or play PSO2. All right, so it's all going to be in one client and like one login feature. So you can pick either to play PSO2 or you can pick to play NGS. And everything pretty much transfers over. You have the items that you have. Most of the like cosmetic items that you have will transfer over. No money transfers over. Some of the weapons do transfer over, but they're going to be less effective in PSO2 and you'll in New Genesis, and you'll start at level 1 no matter what.
I see.
So are the two clients going to keep running side by side?
Yes.
Yes.
That is fascinating. I can't
It
imagine like
is.
having 1.0 and A Realm Reborn sort of running
Exactly.
concurrently.
Yes.
I mean, you have
So
WoW
if I had to
Classic
put
and
money
retail
down,
ready at the same time.
Hmm.
but that's a fairly new concept. If I had to put
Yeah.
money down, really what this is a fear of losing the base that is PSO2.
Yeah.
Because the game's,
Mhm.
let me be clear right now. If you played PSO2, you are not playing New Genesis. It might be called Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. This is Phantasy Star 3.
Yeah.
But much like with WoW, who has been terrified of making WoW 2, the people at Sega clearly don't want to let go of this very popular tag they have. So they just called it an expansion and totally BS their way into a really good game to press buttons in. So you know what?
Yep.
I'm not mad at
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still separated like international version and Japanese version as well.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
just be wary. There is no
a lot of
crossplay.
the old tropes.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's the Japanese version is on PS4 and the international is on Xbox and PC, I do believe.
Yes. Currently, anyway.
Yep.
Is that all
Currently.
you played?
Um,
Was that all you played, Dalit?
No. I played Guilty Gear. I played New Genesis. I also played Monster Hunter. I was helping
Okay.
our friends Psycho and Ali through. Leek was there for that. So
I was there
I
also,
also-
like leeching off this. I can get stuff.
she was not leeching. She's too high a hunter rank. We were both helping them out. She's very good. Other than that, a bit of Melty and a second shot. Your boy is now fully vaccinated. So that was me.
Hey.
Oh, congratulations! Well
Yeah.
done.
Like,
Hey,
literally
thank you,
today,
thank you.
right? How's your arm?
Yeah. It's dull. Kind
Oh.
of throbbing. It'll manage.
Well, so you know what that means, right? It means
okay.
you have a good. It means you have a good immune system.
Yeah, I can't wait tomorrow to feel like death as my immune system just kicks my butt to make sure I'm safe.
Normally, if your
Sorry,
arm
my life.
hurts, if your arm like hurts a lot, from the shot or whatever, you won't have that. You won't really have much symptoms because your immune systems are
thank
your immune
you.
system's strong enough to fight most of the symptoms off.
Cool.
There
That's
is
actually...
a battle happening within your arm.
Perks of working at a pharmacy. You actually learn some stuff.
You get to see it. Yeah. I
I'm
suppose
gonna
you do
laugh
see
so
directly.
I'm gonna laugh so hard tomorrow when you wake up and like the arm that you got the jab in is just completely shredded.
Okay, so how long ago did you get the shot, Dalit?
Sometime this morning. So
Oh yeah, you would have already started feeling side effects. You would have already started
This isn't
feeling
like
side effects.
this
yeah.
isn't just like holdover from the actual injection.
Yeah, no. You would have already felt like weak and like super. You would have felt super sick already if you were gonna get the side effects from it. So
I can't
nice.
wait because Ethys brought up the possibility of just me being like shredded after this, which would be ideal. However, I can't wait to wake up and sweat through 3 hoodies tomorrow as I go into like a fucking horrendous flu-like symptoms.
No, don't say it.
If you
Drink some
I
Lucasade.
doubt anyone is familiar. Oh, I'd love some. I don't know if anyone's familiar, but John Boy Media, my baseball podcast of choice, he got it and he was in a bad one for it. So I'm like, oh my goodness, and you're in better shape than me. I can't wait. So we'll see.
The
I'll
immune
give everyone
system
a
isn't so
prize.
much based on your physique directly. It depends on genetics as well.
yeah, you can be super buff, but you might have a shitty immune system, and
Yeah.
that shot's gonna fuck you over.
Well, steroids are immunosuppressant, so
Yeah.
there's that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That is true, actually. You used a good point.
That's fair.
That's a good point.
The big thing.
Oh,
So
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
did you
That's
play
me, but
anything?
that was me.
Did you play anything at this?
Oh, did I play anything? Well,
Yeah.
I played a little bit of 14, but honestly, I haven't mentioned this anywhere yet, so this is, I guess, the first that I'm announcing it. But
Wow.
I'm almost definitely going to be shipping out to Melbourne sometime in the next week. So I've been trying to like line stuff up for
Oh.
that.
Yeah.
So I haven't had
see.
time to really touch anything other than FanFest.
Okay. So what I'm
Oh,
getting at
blimey.
is you heard the news and immediately had a beeline back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yeah.
Of course. I understand.
Fuck you.
I understand.
Fuck you, EU. Going back to my homeland.
Yeah, I submitted my application for my IRL transfer. I heard that we were getting free server transfers, so I sent an email through to Square Enix, like, "Hey, so can I just like send you an invoice for $3,500? Is that okay? Cool, cool."
Yeah. I mean, you guys are like this. You're tight, right? They've got it.
Well, oh yeah,
Everyone gets
absolutely.
one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
tight.
Very tight. Toy like a toiga.
Oh.
Ugh.
Oh.
I played. What did I play? Okay, so I played New Genesis. All right.
Mm.
I'm actually gonna work on a first impressions video about that. Because I did get I got a good hour and a half of footage yesterday.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna work on that. I gotta write a script and everything. Yay.
Oh, more content on our channel, isn't that? Fancy that.
Yeah. What else? I played 14 a little bit. Actually, the night that they had the night they had the Primals concert, I hopped in and played a little bit with Mike. We did some cluster farming in Bashta. So I was making some of that money. I made about 3 million out of that.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah. The cluster, the cluster thing, sell the fragments. They sell pretty well actually. And I played the Mass Effect Legendary Edition because that came out also on Friday. I'm like halfway through Mass Effect 1.
Already?
Yeah, Mass Effect 1's not that long, man.
It's pretty long.
Yeah. Okay, so it's
so happy I'm not the only one who's just staggered by the process.
Good lord.
It's long if you're doing all of the fucking side quests.
Speaking of fucking side quests, who you romancing, eh?
Hey.
Who am I romancing?
Important question. Link, with the big question.
I'm going.
It's really about. Come on.
So who is it and why is it Tali?
It's actually not Tali because I don't believe in playing male shepherd. So
that's respectable.
It doesn't matter though, does it?
It does.
Yeah,
Tali
it does for
Tali doesn't date women.
Oh, okay. That's fair enough.
Yeah. So yeah, I know, right?
So why is it Rex?
It's not Rex. It's gonna be Liara. I'm going full vanilla on this one. This is Liara. It's canon.
Oh, okay.
And yeah.
All right.
So, no, I mean going through all of the side quests is what artificially makes that game as long as it is. I'm 20 hours into the game, and I'm about to hit the point where I need to start actually doing story, because I've completed all of the current side quests or whatever in the game. They changed up the leveling system. I mean, you can change it back to the original leveling system, which is 1 to 60. But they put it to 1 to 30, and every time you level up, you get a crap ton of ability points to put in. So one level I got 12 ability points to put in. I was like, Jesus Christ. I'm level 18, I think. And they give you a shit ton of credits in that game. Holy fuck. But I can't recommend playing Mass Effect 1 on this version. I cannot. No, I mean, I can recommend playing if you have an Xbox and you want to do the backwards compatibility with the original Xbox versions of Mass Effect 1. Do that, because holy crap, did they screw up the lighting when they did the remaster for this. They whitewashed the fuck out of people.
Oh,
really?
Halo again.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
The Admiral, he's usually pretty tan or whatever.
Yeah.
He's pale as fuck.
That's
no.
game.
strange.
Is that Admiral Keith
Yeah.
David?
No.
No. It's
That
not him,
in
okay.
ME1, that's the captain. He's
Okay.
he's still pretty brown. It's the other guy. It's Aldina. It's Aldina. That's the guy that's
Okay.
above him.
Okay.
He
Fair.
looks bad. Actually, a lot of people look bad in this game. I definitely can't recommend Mass Effect 1 in this version. I haven't played 2 or 3 yet, obviously, because I'm going to go in order. But yeah, no, this one's bad.
That's very disappointing. I've heard there's like a big bug in the Legendary Edition. Like, is it Spectre gear disappearing bug?
I'm not sure on that one yet.
Because I have a friend who encountered it, sadly.
Oh, yeah,
Basically,
I
it's a bug
haven't
that
ran into it yet.
Yeah, it's a bug that keeps players from obtaining the Spectre gear early on, essentially.
I haven't tried getting the Spectre gear.
I think there's a fix in that's been put in now.
There's a bug that they never took out of the original game, which was sometimes when you're in the Mako or the Mako thing and you like get out, you can't do anything. Like you can't like hit the confirm button or anything. You can't open it, like pull out your weapons and all that shit. So like you're just stuck, and so you have to reload the game.
Oh god.
But
good to see
I did
that's
learn.
intact.
I did learn that you can save right there and then reload the game, and then it'll fix the problem.
Oh, that's lucky.
But it's still annoying.
Yeah.
I wonder who the brave soul was to save in an unplayable state. Boy, oh boy, it would not be me.
Well, because you can have multiple save slots. I didn't, so.
That's fair enough.
If I needed to go back, I'd had another save that was a little bit before it. But yeah, I'm slowly going through that ish, kind of. It's kind of fun. Like the combat's still kind of fun. For Mass Effect 1, but because they changed it to make it feel more like ME2 and ME3.
That's a good call.
So at least that's still there, and the conversations are still BioWare conversations, so they actually run pretty smoothly. But yeah, and I think that's all I played.
Yeah, BioWare is
week,
very good at dialogue. Always have been.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Some of the Dragon Age dialogue is not very good. But
it's classic.
Didn't we have to shame him last time for a very similar take? I feel like we're just running in circles.
I just don't like Dragon Age. Okay, I just don't like it.
No, that's fine. That's fair enough.
Yeah. All right. But I think that's all I played this week. I mean, most of the weekend was I'm either playing Mass Effect or I'm watching FanFest or I'm playing New Genesis. So.
Yes.
Yeah. Like usual, we do have a question from Little this week.
Aha.
Oh god. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Just a reminder to everybody, if you want to ask a question, you can email us at perpetualbacklogpodcast@gmail.com or tweet me or something like that. Any way to get a hold of me. I mean, fuck, you can put in the comments if you want. So, I'm going to exclude Ethys from this answer because it's pretty obvious what his answer is. And we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later. But he said minus the Soken ending. What was your favorite moment of this past FanFest?
Oh god.
I wouldn't call the Soken ending my favorite. Like it's super hard.
Yeah, don't call it an ending either. What the fuck?
I mean, it was ending the FanFest.
Yeah,
I don't
know.
like
You're
watching
joining.
my. I don't like watching my Square Enix dads cry. It makes me emotional.
Oh, I know. I like emotions though. It's more of a happy cry, a relieved cry, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh god, you answer first.
How can you not say the showing with the primals? Like they memed it up. Koji came out, Yoshi came out. the dev team danced. It was. I love it so much. Also, because I am back to college for audio engineer. I got to listen with meaning, and that was a fun little exercise. I could do work while I played. So I really enjoyed that bit.
yeah.
I really
That's good.
quite enjoyed.
All right, what about you, Lee?
Oh god, well I'm a big memer, aren't I? So I fucking love that shit. I'll lap that up. But no, I also I was also dying when he did the when Sokun did the Lahi segment too. And not because just of him. The pianist played such a fucking
Keiko,
good
yeah.
straight woman. She did that so well. That
Their
sold it. That was
repertoire is just-
amazing.
Yeah. It was the same at well, you guys would remember it was exactly the same at the last NA Fan Fest. They had her there with the piano concert, and just watching their like on stage chemistry and repartee is just so delightful. It was really nice.
Yes.
Very much so. It was great.
Good
What
fun.
else?
Keiko
what else?
deadpanned her face so well.
She
Mhm,
did.
mhm,
She did. Not one
It
crack.
looked like her soul left her body. Though. It was amazing. Oh my!
That was fantastic.
goodness.
You know, actually, I would say also, and we'll come back to this later, I suppose, I really enjoyed the community team bit as well. They had a segment that I very much enjoyed, and I hope they will do that in the future. The Gillionaire quiz, namely. That was really good.
It was fun.
I mean, the keynote stuff is the keynote stuff. That's always hype, so it doesn't really count, I suppose. Yeah.
I don't know. In hindsight, going back and watching Drac get everything he wanted on Summoner from Reaper was pretty exciting. Like
That
watching
is a
the
good
slow
point,
realization. Yeah, watching the slow realization hit him that this is my idea. This is what I said.
Yeah.
This is what I said. This is it. Oh, it was great. It was great. It was great.
This is all for him.
I love watching other people get happy. I tell a lie. Holy shit. No, the thing that's going to stay with me longest, aside from the ending, is easily the reaction that Ethys had to the servers. It's been GIFed, it's been captured in video, it's been immortalized.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it was amazing.
It's been
I've given you like
it's been
6
green
answers.
screen.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's all correct though. It's great. It's all correct.
I mean, it's impossible to say the entire fan fest because because that's just cheating.
I'll cheat.
But
I got another one. I got another one actually. Since everyone gets to no. It's literally the Twitter. I was glued to Twitter throughout the whole thing, and so many memers are on the fucking ball. Immediately photoshopping shit together. That was awesome.
That was easily like one of the coolest parts because like you just click over to Twitter and you see 14 different memes of Keiko's face. It's just
steady stream to be sure.
Fucking hilarious.
Or Koji and Yoshi P with a freaking Reaper segment.
Yeah.
No, the Bunny Boys. People saw the Lullipits. Is that what they're called? Lullipits?
The Lullipits.
Oh,
yeah, and then was it you?
Parrots.
Yeah, lol rabbits. Lol rabbits.
I'm not sure anymore.
I still don't have the name down. I'll get it done eventually. But people are like, oh look, Mel Vieira confirmed, and of course they do confirm Mel Vieira later. And Square or the 14 community was like,
yes.
Was it one a bet?
Well, it was the official count as well.
Yeah,
they got back to one person.
It was great.
Yeah, that was so good. Oh man, it's low parrots.
Low parrots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Low parrots. Yeah. Also, fan art.
Well, someone
fan
unfortunately
art is
made the
amazing.
joke. Yes. Oh my goodness, so quick too.
The speed of them.
Well, I'm sorry for my mispronunciation, but someone made the joke about these bunnies just being Vieira and Lalafell, and it's messed with my understanding of these things. Not that I'm going to point anyone out or call anyone
Lala
names,
rabbits.
but someone
Lala
in this call definitely said that on Twitter, didn't they, Ethys?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Silence.
yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
He also tweeted some choice things about the actual male bunnies.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, watching Ethys live stream was also pretty great. Anyways, so to
Yeah.
answer your question, everything. I'm gonna cheat. Everything. I love this
Oh.
event. I don't go to many big events. I don't watch a lot of really, really big events. I love huge events, but I'm not a very social person anymore. So it's just great. I just love it top to bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. I would probably have to say, it's definitely the Primals concert, but
Mm.
I think my favorite part about the Primals concert was when they obviously were going to do an encore because they could, and they hammed it up by doing the Shadowbringers ending.
Yes.
With Ardbert and having the actual Ardbert voice actor voice that section.
Yeah,
What a
yeah.
good choice.
I was like these motherfuckers. That, or as soon as I saw the 4 dev team members in the green, red, and blue shirts standing up
Twinning.
on the stage,
Yeah.
I was like they're doing twinning. 100%.
I can't
They're doing
believe
Yeah.
they
twinning.
did that.
It was so perfect.
They did that.
Cannot believe they actually did
It's
that.
so well
Oh.
done.
This is how you know your dev team like watches everything about their video game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't get away with
Everything.
anything in this community.
No, you can't. When half of the dev team are the memers, that's when you know. That's when you know.
Listen, when I got a Christmas card from the EU team that like explicitly called out Shardbird, I was like, "Ugh, okay."
All right, Ethys, I'll let you answer this question, even though we all know what the answer is going to be.
I mean, obviously, it's the Australian data centers, and we can get into this later, but that is something that I have been dreaming about, and more than that, like really like actively working hard to push for since like 2015, I think.
Mhm.
And
Every
a lot of
interview.
other
Interview.
yeah, and a lot of other people obviously are, behind that, and have done so much work for years and years and years building up the ANZ community. So I don't want to, I'm not going to take any kind of credit for it, but it was just like, I just been waiting for that moment for such a long time. And it's definitely going to go down as like one of the most like memorable moments in like my sort of 14 coverage career, if you will.
Yeah. We'll get into this later, obviously, but I like always knew that they would put in Australian, like oceanic data centers or whatever, mainly on the fact that Yoshi P specifically went to Australia and played and said, "I can't do this. How do you guys do this?"
Yeah,
So,
but that was in 2014,
Yeah, but he knew. He felt
yeah,
it.
he knew.
No,
Yeah, he
of
knew.
course he did, and no one was blaming the dev
Yeah,
team. I think they understand that was always something that was difficult, but
I'm
Yeah.
sure he pushed
what
it
was-
every
what-
time he
what was their
could.
op-
Yes, he's
Sure,
told me
sure.
time and again that like he wants to do it, but it's not like it's out of his hands. That's not his decision.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
Matsuda's decision.
Yes, exactly.
It's a huge investment money wise, and I
Yeah.
think it's
Yes.
justified, obviously, from just the
Yeah.
sheer player base, and
Mhm.
it's not just Australia that benefits from that. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it really is the oceanic server, and I think a lot of people
Yeah.
forget there's more to Oceania. But
Yeah.
I'm well pleased to see it happen. I mean, like everyone else, I think it's too late. Not too late, but I think it is late. But this is literally a case of better late than never, and I'm so happy for the people who finally get to experience this game at below 200 ping.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you said something about it being a budget thing. All right, or like it's definitely a big financial undertaking. Because I have a side tangent that I actually wanted to talk about.
All right, let's talk.
And
beautiful segue.
Yeah. I was like, as soon as Dalit said something, I was like, yes, it's my in. So recently, there has been some NDA breaking news from the Amazon MMO New World that they're putting in a cash shop immediately. They've already got one in the works. And they stated at launch it's going to have cosmetics and everything. But they already stated that there's going to be quality of life stuff put into the cash shop. That's anywhere between experience boosts to rested experience, like stuff to buy. And one of the big things that got to me was like, and I heard it everywhere, was how are you gonna offer quality of life stuff for a video game that's not even out yet?
To clarify on that, they have stated that when the game is in its like 1.0 full launch, that the cash shop is going to be purely cosmetic. It's not going to have any, EXP boosting or like crafting EXP boosting. I think is something that we're looking at specifically. This is just for like early access. It's for the next betas and all that. And they say that they're experimenting with it, but really what it is another sort of funding model for something that we see a lot in early access, where they push like premium sort of early supporter packages. I'm not sure if there's like a better way to describe that, but I'm sure you guys like know what I'm talking about, right? Like there's a lot of betas where you can play for free, but you can also dump in, $60 and get like, a bunch of bonus stuff, which isn't going to carry on into the game, but it's just like, hey, here's a way to sort of reward you and incentivize you for supporting the development of the game. And obviously, like Amazon does not, they don't need money. They could spend $1 billion on this project and it wouldn't be like, hardly a drop in the bucket. But that said, that's obviously the intention, right? Is to like use this to fund development, and the rewards that people are getting are going to be, then they're not going to have them in the full game, in the full release. It's if they are staying true to their word in the full release, none of this stuff that they're offering is going to matter.
But see, that part I'm fine with. You can buy stuff as much as you want in a beta or whatever, and it not carry over. But they've already started planning the stuff for when the game actually launches. All right, which is something I don't think a new MMO like this should focus on. All right, I think it's development that needs to not be considered at the start of an MMO. Especially when they're already talking about putting experience boosts and stuff into like the main game cash shop. When
I thought they had explicitly stated that the main game cash shop would only be cosmetic.
They said at launch it will be only cosmetic, but they said that they are looking into putting quality of life stuff into the cash shop, like rested EXP and EXP boosts.
I'm going to play devil's advocate, but I want it to be stated that I want to defend myself afterwards because I don't necessarily.
Yeah.
But to play devil's advocate, I think this goes to the popular trend in all video games of wanting to have a way for players with very finite time.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and quash this. I'm going to go ahead and quash.
I know.
Make the game enjoyable, and people won't have that problem.
Sure. I think that'll get through about half of this community that I'm thinking of. Mostly, when I say this, I mean the genuine community that doesn't have enough. The people who have classwork, children, other things to do, and it's not that they don't want to play; it's that they literally have finite time.
Indeed. So my point will be then is which demographic are these boosts aimed at? Are they aimed at people who want to raid, if there's a raid system in there? Are they for quote-unquote hardcore gamers, or casual people who will not put in hours and hours of gameplay because they would just want to relax and play the game as is for story or whatever?
I'll be extremely cynical here, and I'm saying they're aimed at anybody willing to open up their wallet.
I don't think that's cynical. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's.
But like
I have
do
the
wanna
same.
Defend,
Yeah, go ahead.
I do want to defend myself because I don't think that's correct. Yes, as Aqua stated, if you make your game enjoyable, more people will stay with it long. But
Yeah,
also,
just make your early game enjoyable. Yeah.
But also, what are the level catch-ups for the casual community? Because they're clearly
Nobody
not.
knows that it's
I
an
mean, they're
NDA.
probably-
This information wasn't even supposed to be out because it's NDA.
It was mostly I mean, I
Yeah.
don't.
No-
I don't really
nobody-
expect
nobody
an
knows.
answer to this question.
Yeah.
This is an open question, basically.
But
Yeah.
just in the broad sense, if you're aiming for the casual community, like I see this in even Ubisoft games where it's not
Yeah.
multiplayer, you can take this at your own pace. They still offer these boosters so you can get to the high level and just trivialize everything. It's like, well, if you're
I don't
aiming
agree
for the
with that
casual
either.
folk, very likely they don't need it because they're taking their time. They're enjoying either the story or the gameplay in a way that perhaps you didn't expect them to enjoy, and it's slower and it's not as optimized.
Exactly. This is
and-
was exactly what I said just now. But you see,
Yeah.
so we have a thing we can compare it to. For example, 14 does have level boosts. So they do have job boosts and story skips, right? But the demographic they are aiming for are people with alts who have gone through the game already. And they don't
Yes.
necessarily need to do it all again. They just want to catch up because perhaps they've made an alt on a different server to play with other people, data center, shall we say, to play with people that they just want to do current content with. So they don't have time
There you
to
have it.
go through it all again.
There's
But
B.
I also don't agree with the existence of the story and level boost in 14, though.
Do you not? That's interesting.
No,
Okay.
I don't agree with it.
So if I wanted to, let's say, make a character on the brand new, shiny, smelling of, I don't know, beachfront and pine trees Oceania server,
Mhm.
Pine
you don't
trees?
think I should be able to? I don't look. Wait, I didn't. What do you want me to say?
The papaya.
Did you mean
you've
palm
mentioned.
trees?
Palm trees.
Gum trees?
Papaya trees. No, it's
Pine
papaya
trees.
trees.
I was
Papaya.
actually mostly I was mostly making reference to car fresheners, but if you want to go with the actual world, you know, the newly smelling of beer and wet concrete, that is the
There
Oceania
it is.
servers. Yeah, but so if I want to just pop in, I've done my time. I'm a level 80 bard. You know, I raided, I got my gear, but I want to pop over with Ethys and fuck it, I just want to run dungeons and chill and feature in his videos
right.
when he needs a punching bag.
All right.
You would want me to go level 1
So-
to 80 again?
So here's
Yeah.
here's my like thing about that. All right.
Uh-huh.
14 already implements faster ways to level up in this game. All right. And it's not on Square to incentivize your friends to play with you at lower levels. So like if you wanted to pop over and play with Ethys, he should have the want to go do Sastasha with you when you're leveling up. Like I've played like 5 hours on that character that I have on the EU data center, all right? It's already level 32, all right? I am so far ahead of the story, it's ridiculous. All right?
Yeah, the leveling is crazy fast.
If you in
To be fair,
going through the
14
story,
is making this a very difficult example because
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah,
generous.
so
I
may I?
Yeah,
All right,
go
I'll
ahead.
let you finish and then I'll. No,
No, go ahead because I got a long thing.
Okay, all right. So this is where we find ourselves attacking the wrong people. Giving people a choice and letting them choose is not their fault. They have a right to choose. However, if as a company, a very big company with lots of money, are just finding ways to make extra cash when they don't need it or whatever, right? that's where you should focus the vitriol towards, I should say.
So
Or the
I do.
criticism. That's a better
I
word.
do. I criticize
Yeah.
14
Don't ever shame people. Don't ever
No,
shame
no.
people for wanting to level skip. That's my point.
No,
You
I'm
know,
not.
if they
I'm
have
never
the
shaving
option
people
and
for
have
level
little
skipping.
time.
I've used it.
All right,
I've
yeah,
used
just
it.
making a
I've
thing.
used it. I've
Okay.
used it.
Uh-huh.
So I will
right.
never shame people for using the level skip because that, I mean, it's there. It's your choice. If you want to pay the money to do it, then do it. All right.
Yeah, 14
my-
should make Sastasha better.
Yeah, 14 should make Sastasha better.
Oh, I feel it to my bones.
And actually
God,
they
if I
did because
used to pray that I got Sastasha in fucking level
and
roulette.
the sound
even
she'd make.
so even undersizing it will get you through that part of the story. So like, I mean, you can get Ethys, who's on his level 80 Dragoon, through there and one hit all the fucking mobs in that dungeon. You'll go through it a lot quicker than just, you know, syncing it up. So like, I mean, that's I will never shame somebody for using the level boost because like I said, the company put it there. All right. If you want to pay the $50 to do it, whatever, fuck it, go ahead and do it. All right. My problem is, all right, I don't mind 14's cash shop as much as I actually probably should. All right. I think there are a lot of stuff on that shop that is way too expensive. And I think Ethys will agree with me because we were both thinking that whale was going to be a lot more expensive than they put it at. And then putting it at $35 at launch was I was like, holy shit. All right.
But even the actual price is like $30 lower than some things I was hearing.
Yeah.
It's $10 lower than what I expected.
Yeah, I was thinking it was going to be 70.
Actually, that reminds me. Actually, they're going to be basically regionalizing the cash shop stuff now. So, for example, if you want to pay...
that's
really
yeah, they
good.
are. It was recent news I just saw today, actually. So, for example, whatever price it is in America, because of exchange rate and whatnot, it can be very expensive in other countries, right? So they're going to be essentially... I'm going to try and find this news now. But this is the newest thing I saw today. But continue now as I find the link.
So I buy stuff off of 14's cash shop, and the only reason why I never feel bad for buying stuff on that cash shop is because I've actually seen that money go from my wallet back into the video game.
Yes.
All right. I cannot say the same with Blizzard and WoW's cash shop. I obviously can't say the same thing with New World because it's not even out yet. Ashes of Creation, I'm a bit wishy-washy on what that's ever going to be like. Fucking Terra's cash shop is shit. Bless Online's cash shop is shit. Like all these other all these other games that have cash shops, I never see any of that. Like I never feel like any of that money's ever going back into the game. 14's cash shop, I have definitely seen it do that. So that's why
it's ultimately it's an issue of transparency, and that's where 14 and Yoshida beats every single other MMORPG on the market in every conceivable way is transparency. And that's like, if you're gonna have something like this, then you absolutely have to be transparent with your consumers. Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with there being like the level boost and everything in there, but I've used it. And if you ever want to use it, like that's fine with me. I just think I just think the dev team maybe and they have, obviously they've shortened ARRs like quest time. They've made it to where you level up really quickly. They've given you a bunch of items that give you a crap ton of experience up for the beginning of that game. I understand ARR is not exactly the most fun storyline to go through. And if you're making an alt or whatever, there's an escape button that helps you skip through the game, skip through cutscenes and everything. But like I said, I don't fully agree with it, but I'll never shame anybody for doing it. I think Square, like the dev team should probably maybe find a better way to make the early game of 14 a little bit more approachable, because they are really lacking that. And all these people from WoW that are coming over, they're immediately buying. Half of them are immediately buying the boost at least to Heaven's Word, to get through, because their ARR is just not fun. Yeah. If you do plan on going through the storyline, skipping ARR is okay, but just maybe watch it somewhere. I mean, Ethys Asher has a fucking like YouTube channel full of that shit. So, so yeah,
All that juicy lore.
that's the tangent I wanted to like put on that because like like that the new world shit just came out like yesterday or the day before, and I don't mind cash ups like if they're cosmetic and everything, but when it gets past that, I just like I get a little I tense up a lot, and I've sworn off all Blizzard stuff. Period. Like I'm not even gonna play Diablo 2 remastered, like remastered when it comes out, because I'm not touching it. As much as I love Vicarious Visions, all right, I'm not touching it because that money eventually, that money is just going to go to Blizzard. It's not going to go to Vicarious. They're obviously contracted or whatever, and they're just going to get the money that Blizzard is going to give them, all right, because Blizzard's just going to take all that money and it's going to go straight to Bobby Kotick. So.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck him.
Seriously, goodness.
All right, rant done. We can now get into what we're all here for, to watch this trailer. So I'm gonna do this thing right here because this trailer is probably one of the best trailers I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
Bam. Look at this.
Oh,
Look at
all
this
right.
thing.
Okay.
Look at this baby.
I will rewatch this trailer for years, just like I did with Edinburgh. With Shadow.
I've watched this trailer like so many times. So we're gonna go through this trailer. We can talk over it or whatever. And then I'm gonna have it on repeat, but like silent, for the video. So.
Peggy 16.
Can you guys hear it okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I know it verbatim anyway.
Yeah. Of course you have the lyrics, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually planning on doing a breakdown video on the lyrics because there's some dragon speak stuff in there, which is particularly interesting. Mm-hmm.
I'll be very interested to hear what's actually being said.
Yeah, it seems to be like the dragons having knowledge of the Amratines.
Oh.
And kind of speaking to that. There's a sort of implication there of them like knowing about the end of the world.
That's a weird relationship I've never considered.
And it's also because they experienced the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, Midgard Zorma did anyway.
Also, all those dragons up in that part of the map that we're flying around, that makes sense now. Now all the dragons are gonna come in to help.
Yeah.
So these are of course Terminus beasts. I think we can like very confidently say that now.
Yeah.
Given how many other Terminus beasts we see in this trailer, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Seeing them fully rendered is amazing.
It's really cool. Yeah.
Square has stepped up their CGI shit. Like,
it's phenomenal.
It's not even that.
Yeah.
It's such an old concept because they come from 11 at least. Maybe 11 at least.
Right. Yeah. The models.
Such a goofy. Yeah. They're such a goofy
so this
look,
is in
they
Thavnair.
translate so well.
Yes. This is Thavnair. You can tell from the giant skull in the background, and also you see the temple and all that. And this is Ritra.
Yeah.
And
I made a mistake when I first watched this. I was like, because the last time you see Estinian is riding away on Tiamat, and then my brain just connected and found patterns that weren't there, basically.
Yeah. So he actually says Ritra right there, but everyone missed that because everyone, when they're watching the first time, they talk over it,
Including we're shouting.
Including us. And I went and looked at the concept art of the seven great worms and identified Ritra from that before I realized that Estinian had said it out loud.
Yeah. Also,
do we think that Azdaja is going to show up as well?
No, I don't think so. Not,
Maybe
not
the
this
only-
one. I think they'll keep
I
Asdaja
see.
in the back
Perpetually
pocket.
missing one word.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
word, one word.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say this version of Stormblood theme is the best.
I agree.
Ah, it's great.
It,
I think that's.
they need to go back into through all the Stormblood dungeons and just replace the music with that, and I'll be happy.
Well, it's also so delightful that the trailer goes through like a medley of all the expansions. Like, the
Yes.
themes.
It is great. It's a really
Yeah.
nice homage to everything that's happened prior.
And then you creamed at this part right here.
Yeah, well, no surprise. Like we were 100% expecting this. There's
So
Thalia.
fucking pretty though.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
Of course, it's pretty.
Yeah.
They're secluded from everything, and they don't allow people to fuck anything up.
Spiral.
Nah.
Yeah. They're
Including
so
themselves.
pretend. They're
Bunch of books
they're
we're
all.
never going to be able to read.
Yep.
So yeah, exactly.
And a
Like,
locked-
how do you
and a
feel about the
locked
fact
door?
you're not gonna be able to read any of it?
I paused here, both like when we get
Yeah.
a shot of the page and here when we see the reflection of the text in his eyes, trying to see if I can read.
Yeah.
Anything. He's
No.
begging for scraps.
So how
No.
is
Okay,
okay?
most
Okay, so right
popular
here,
That's fortunate.
Matoya look.
Fortunate
No,
Olivia.
Matoya.
Yeah.
She looks like she's saying something before she actually says. So Charlene or whatever. She's like mouthing something as she's walking down the steps. And yeah,
Is that the
this
truth?
That's not the truth. Yeah. Also, she.
Well,
angry.
you gotta remember that it's being, like
Yeah.
voiced in several different languages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is Fortuno Levia, which is the
Yeah.
twins' father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was first named and introduced to us actually back in 2014 in the final Tales from the Calamity.
Yeah.
And then we saw his picture, his in-game render in the first encyclopedia. So we know for sure that that's him.
I mean, also they're dead.
Yeah. There's the
And
first
this is the-
beast.
Yep.
Again.
Yeah, it's the first beast with all the icky mouth.
And he just gets one
Get
shot.
One shot net. Yeah.
Yeah.
10 levels higher, man. Yeah, big difference.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously got stat squished as well. Huh?
Yeah. And we're on the moon.
Oh my god. I love it every time.
I'm still obsessed with this. Like, it still looks like it's a fucking hole through it. And I'm wondering if that's just.
It
Oh.
absolutely is. So I'm in the middle of writing a breakdown of the trailer, and I can pull this for you right now. So back in 3.2, when we first meet the Word of the Mother, the line that she delivers to us, she says, "The darkness coveted power, the balance was broken. Thus was I forced to banish him unto the distant heavens, to forever remain apart, a moon bound." And we thought that was like allegory and euphemism, right? We thought that was a metaphor. But
Sure.
it seems now that like Zodiac was the heart of the star,
Mhm.
like literally the heart of the star, as we know that Heidelin is sort of literally down there, like the mother crystal is down there. Zodiac would have been down there, and the Heidelin kick, while sundering all of the shards, it seems that also just like she just drop kicked the chunk where his crystal was into space. And the
Okay.
moon is like literally like a chunk out of the planet that she's
Yeah.
just kicked into orbit to sort of remove him from the live stream. And he's literally there, in stasis, like the moon's his corpse, effectively.
Interesting.
So that's the significance of the moon for my money.
Yeah, we're
I'm
actually
gonna
going
nerd
to.
out a bit
Good
then,
bet.
because I'm gonna nerd out a bit then because one theory of our own moon's existence is that it's literally a piece of Earth
Yeah.
that was projected into space from a meteor strike. So.
Yeah, there you go. So what else is there? I mean, we mentioned Vritra and Estinian, the fact that they're in Thavner there, and we can perhaps posit that Vritra is a Thavnerian native.
Mhm.
Probably fair.
Just
Um,
hiding out there.
Yeah. All these creatures are terminus beasts, and our hypothesis that the towers are somehow simulating the effects of the keening in producing those, I think is, relatively sound as well, given that horde of creatures we see in Thabnir are also terminus beasts that we see in Amarot. What do you guys think of what's happening in Sharlayan? Because I was hoping that in the same way that it has for like Tiamat and the rest of the dragons, that maybe facing down the barrel of an actual apocalypse would be enough to get the Sharlayans off their butts. But it seems instead they're building a vault, right, with Labyrintho. And
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like,
absolutely.
yeah.
No, this is absolutely what I expected. Everything we have learned about the Sharlayans, specifically through the Scions, and more specifically through the twins, pretty much led me to believe that there's no way they would confront an issue. They would instead double down on their seclusion and protect their information, which is all very well and good, except they literally could change the world. Especially with what we saw from
continue.
art and just some of the walkthroughs. We've seen just how far forward they are in their use of technology and of Aether. So no. If they really were at all interested in doing anything on behalf of anyone else, they would have turned up. And needless to say, the twins don't speak very highly of their father. They were very keen on their grandfather. And our Scions literally broke off to go do things. And I think what we're seeing now, especially with Stola in that trailer, is just them kind of renewing their vows to go out, gather knowledge, and protect the world. And essentially Charlene going like, yeah, that's great. We have no intention of helping.
Yeah,
They
don't believe they don't believe they can win.
What I wanted to say, there's also a visual representation of this as well, of them listening but not really wanting to acknowledge and confront what they really should do, but keeping to tradition. Because if you look in the trailer behind Mr. Levieux, there is like a lot of people with concealed faces. They are physically wearing a mask over their head.
Doesn't that sound familiar?
Yeah, isn't it though? I'm trying to find someone pointing it out.
This is really consolidating my hypothesis that, particularly now we know that both Garlemald and Alug were Ascian projects, that Sharlayan's non-intervention may be a kind of contractual obligation, and that Neonkrepf himself, the founder, and subsequently Sharlayan, might actually be an Ascian project in that kind of hoarding and preservation of knowledge for their purposes. And, that perhaps it was Elidibus or Laha Brea that, once, or even Emmet, right, once Garlemald started invading Eorzea, that was like, all right, you guys need to clear out of the way because, we've got that 1,500-year-old agreement that, we let you be a new sort of, whatever it is. I really, really think, and again, we're seeing the logarithmic spiral kind of echoed obviously through Sharlayan, but we've seen that appear a couple of times in Amarot as well. And I really think that we're gonna like come to the conclusion of realizing, or at least suspecting, that the whole thing is another Ascian project all along.
So
Ascian
you said
or ancient, because Leek has a
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I am. My speculation is actually the other side. It's the Heidelin branch of the ancient, shall we say? Because if you look on the artwork that was presented in Endwater, it's actually well, not the one, not that particular one that's linked to us here, but there is a figure we don't know. However, she has a very tip of Heidelin. That's behind everybody.
Probably
and she has a mask, and it's probably exactly. It's probably her, and I think she is in Sharlayan.
Okay, that's would certainly be a compelling idea as well.
I have a counteracting theory.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
do tell.
My counteracting theory is that she's not in Charlian, and she's that white light that
Uh-huh.
we see branching from the Silvertear Lake in the trailer, in the 5.5
yeah.
trailer.
I think so
Oh,
too,
yeah.
but they're not necessarily like mutually exclusive.
But
Mm.
you also said a funny, like I know it was obviously joking or whatever,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
what if Mr. Levier is Travanchet? Because we haven't ran into him ever
I made
again.
a joke about that. Yeah, I made a joke about that a couple of days ago.
This
no.
is
Yeah,
this is a stretch.
because
I-
okay,
that
because
made
he
me so
okay,
happy.
he was looking for the horn. All right,
Mhm.
in
Uh-huh.
1.0, he was going for the horn, which is a thing that's like Tsubsamadi.
Mhm.
All right, and who had Tsubsamadi?
Mhm.
Louis Soir.
Yeah, Louis Schwab basically, I don't know if stole is the correct word, but he sort of possessed it from Charlian custody, if you will.
Absconded with it.
Yes, absconded with it is a good way
Yeah.
to put it. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and what if okay, so Charlian obviously was most likely collecting these types of artifacts.
Sure.
So what if that was just Travanchet's
Obviously.
plan?
Well,
to
he
bring
gave it
bring it
to
back.
Mide
Wait,
and
yeah, he
Diane.
gave it to Mide, yeah. But what happened to that what happened to the horn? Is it still within Alexander?
Yeah, I believe it was destroyed alongside
Okay.
Alexander.
All
Yeah.
right.
Mm.
I still think that it's badassian influence in Charlian and not not the Heidelin-Asian
Mm.
influence.
I mean,
Because
on one
if it-
hand, it's impossible to, especially with this being the wrap up to the Asian Zodiac Heidelin storyline, it's impossible for them not to play a part. On the other hand, I just kind of want them to be assholes. I do.
Yeah.
I want them to like just.
Oh, don't
I
get me
just
wrong.
want
I think
them-
they are.
Well, no, I mean, I don't want them to be control. I just want them to literally think they know better, and I want them to be wrong.
Yeah.
I want the
I think
twins
there's gonna
to
be
come in, I want them to
partisanship.
yell at Dad.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
the Scions to come in. I
Yeah.
want them to yell at Dad. I want
Yes,
Graha to
yes.
come in
Yeah.
and not yell at Dad and go, "Hey, I actually I want to have a bit of a read. Can
Yeah.
I do that?"
well,
I have
so
to-
my
actually, you
question
remember
is,
me? I'm Graha. I am a Charlie. Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
And then
So-
for him to find something that they've overlooked because essentially they've had their eyes on this for centuries. They need a new set of
Mm.
eyes. They're gonna get it. Something's
Mhm.
gonna get found. Ta-da! We're the heroes, and Charlene can go fuck themselves because they
I have
are selfish bastards.
another theory when it comes to the Graha portion of the trailer. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so my question is, one, why is he in a room that's locked from the outside?
He's a student of Baldesian. He's got access to places that most Archons don't.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of
yeah, I
people
mean, that-
forget what Graha actually is.
That's
Yeah.
fair, but how does he get out? I mean, there was no guards posted up out
Magic.
there.
You
And
know he-
teleport. No problem.
Yeah.
Return,
know,
right?
but
Because
that
we
is
all
the
got
thing, right?
return.
Yeah, okay. All right. Two, the words that he says is that this star still has secrets to be found, or like, you know, the star has still some secrets to tell or
Yeah.
whatever. And he said, and he specifically says, "Take care, my friend." I don't think
Mhm.
what Graha's looking at is something for 6.0. I think it's the 6.1 storyline and on.
Hmm.
Oh, you think he's hinting at the next story? I see.
Yeah. Yeah, because I
I mean,
don't
that's-
I don't
that'd
think
be
what
weird
he's
to
looking
have.
at.
The 6.0 stinger in the 6.0 trailer, though. Sorry, the
Yeah.
6.1 stinger in the 6.0
Yeah.
trailer.
I mean, they're going to have to be setting up 6.1 through
Yeah.
6.0, otherwise it's going to be extremely jarring. So I don't know if they'd put the stinger in the trailer, but I think that you're absolutely like 100% correct to be sort of like fishing for 6.1 stuff already. I think there was a lot of like 6.1 into 7.0 stuff done in 5.5, for instance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That's fair.
That's what I was thinking there, because I was like, obviously all the Scions know that we're not on Heidelin anymore. We're probably during that all those times we're sitting pretty on the moon. All right. because they all look up and we're like on the moon and shit like that. So they obviously do not come with us.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So
I mean, not necessarily all of them anyway. Like the party's been
true.
split up quite a few times over the last couple of expansions.
yeah,
Goodness.
The really compelling thing and the thing to kind of watch out for Charlene for me again is partisanship. The fact that not all of the Circle of Knowing are in the Scions, and not all of the Circle of Knowing are even in Eorzea. Like Moonbreeder was a member of the Circle of Knowing, and she was back in Old Charlian doing research. There are going to be like a pretty significant splinter of native Charlians who are kind of loyal to Louis Soir and do follow his ideals that aren't necessarily even like known to the Senate. And I think that is going to be really, really interesting, is actually seeing how the Charlians kind of fracture. Because we look at the trailer and we think like, oh, they're like perhaps unilaterally against intervention, but I don't think that is going to be the case. I think there's going to be a huge amount of conflict in Charlian.
You made one mistake.
To the point that I
One
kind of
mistake.
look forward to seeing a Roman Senate scuffle happen at some point. And I hope.
I think there'll be a
I'm
coup.
not reading into
I think
no,
there'll be a
don't
coup.
Caesar Mr. Levier. Don't Caesar Mr. Levier, please.
I think
that's what I was just thinking.
I think there'll be a
Don't do it.
coup.
No Brutus.
I think there'll be a coup. No, the mistake that you made, you just called it a Senate, and now I have an image in my head of plastered Mr. Levier's face on the face of Palpatine. Yeah.
It's treason, man.
So,
God, I hope he says that.
my
The thing though, if he's head of Charlian and makes all the decisions, he 100% has sent assassins to kill people outside of Charlian.
There's
You would have saved
precedent
the
for that.
order. Yeah.
Yeah, there's precedent for that. There were assassins sent to kill Genequinard because he was, spreading Charlian astrology.
Yeah.
So, yeah, who knows?
I think there'll be a coup. I think like with the people that are probably on Louis Soir's, like that are loyal to Louis Soir, I think they'll be like, okay, well, obviously his son is not doing what needs to be done, and will try to take over Charlian.
Oh, if Alphino and Alize are forced to commit patricide, that would be extremely
that to them.
powerful.
Yeah, it
Oh
would
my
be. It would be
goodness. All these
so
poor
powerful.
babies.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
extremely
maybe not
powerful.
as far as Patricide, but Patri.
No, yeah, I don't.
Smackdown.
Yeah,
Patrick
Patrick
Smack.
Smack. Yeah.
I don't know.
Patra
I
slap.
don't necessarily.
Yeah, Patricide.
I don't even necessarily expect things to get too bloody. A few scuffles, sure. I expect it to be a more sensible version of Heaven's Word's court case, as it were.
Well, Heaven's Ward also
but-
involved patricide.
It did.
Yep.
Lots of slapping.
That's fair.
Also,
I do expect, however, there to be, by the end of this, a giant walkout, and that splintering that you're talking about, I expect it to be a thing that happens. I expect we'll see Charlians leave Old Charlene. And
Damn,
go
it's
out
like
and
history
essentially form
repeating
their
itself
own-
or some shit, eh?
yeah.
Just so, and form other circles, much like our own scions, in other areas.
I'm honestly surprised Y'shtola just didn't be like, okay, well, fuck you, and then flare in the middle of the fucking room.
Oh god.
Okay,
She
well,
looked.
she
She
kinda-
looked.
she
the
kinda
flare,
did.
She kind of did.
Kind of did.
Yeah. I bet you she did that. She did that just for like, man, I swear to God, if I wouldn't probably get killed by all of you guys, I would murder you right now. So she just like,
I have no idea how to properly judge Y'shtola's power level at any given time, though. That's so.
This
Who
is
knows?
true. Yeah.
It is as required.
Yeah.
It is. As
She looked.
required,
She looked
absolutely.
angry. She did look very angry.
Oh yeah.
So, last thing I
Well,
have.
she'd asked to see the manager, and then she saw him.
Yeah, true. So this is true. Last thing I have for like the trailer, I guess, or like the big part is obviously Xenos was gonna job change into into a Reaper or a scythe wielding god. So his Reaper powers are going to be a lot different than ours because his scythe is a gun scythe. There's a gigantic revolver in the middle of it, a revolver like chamber in the middle of
there's some
his
sort
scythe.
of Magitech integration there.
Yeah.
Which is interesting
I
because he
hope-
doesn't need that.
Yeah, no, he doesn't need that. So I'm hoping it's functional, and that
Yeah.
his reaping is literal. And the thing about Xenos, what Xenos is someone that has been artificially rejoined countless
Yeah.
times. We do not know how many times.
Yeah.
And I suspect that a large part of his plan, he wants to consume Zodiac effectively. A large part of his plan is going to be going around killing people and absorbing their souls, like literally reaping souls.
Yeah.
I would be fine with this.
Oh, that'd
I
be
mean,
so cool.
Obviously, that's a bad thing, but
Mhm.
No,
No.
we're gonna kill him. We're gonna
Yeah,
kill him
no.
anyway. Doesn't matter. We got him. We're
I'm
gonna
gonna
kill him
again.
again. Well, he killed himself. Okay,
This
let's
man-
be real here.
This man does not. This man.
We
does
didn't
not
kill
feel-
him.
Yeah, but he. This is true, but we would have. Even he realized.
No, we would have. No, we
someone
would have
joked
kept him
about-
alive.
Someone joked about on Twitter, like Fan Daniel's going to be basically the stand-in for the Reaper spirit that's behind you. He's going to be floating
I
around
believe-
behind.
so-
He's not in the
Xenos.
artwork. He is not in the artwork. So I think
Isn't
he
he?
gets. I think he gets it soon. I think he gets
Do
it
you think
very
he will
early
give-
on.
Do you think Xenos will give Fan Daniel the big slurp? That's his first
I-
thing. It's like,
I think that as soon as he no longer needs him, he's gonna kill him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think Fan Daniel gets that the proverbial scythe as soon as Xenos thinks he doesn't.
That's what he
doesn't
wants,
need
though. He
anything.
wants to die. He's like, yeah, bring it,
There's-
bring it.
There's nothing proverbial about it. He's gonna get the literal scythe.
Yeah.
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 like, the big slope.
The big
Yeah,
slurp.
as I said, yeah, the big
The
slurp.
big slurp. Yeah, he's
But
he's
this
gonna,
is what he wants, so I don't
slurp
know.
his
He probably won't
Asian
resist
soul.
it all, really.
yeah.
I mean, so here's my
No,
thing.
he says
can't
that.
Just want.
Yeah.
He can't
Yeah.
just want to die. There's so many ways he could have gone about it by.
I
This
agree.
man has ulterior motives. We
Yeah.
don't know it. He doesn't trust Xenos because Xenos is literally a walking weapon. So there's no purpose in giving him a reason to fight.
Indeed, but
living
he's
is his
already
reason to
set his
fight.
plans in motion. So, him getting scythed by Xenos is probably part of his plan, I imagine. Because what does
No.
it feed into?
I think when Xenos goes to scythe him, he's gonna be like, "Oh, well, fuck me then, right?" I think
Oh,
that.
that's a fandom.
Oh, no. All right, moving on. All right,
That
so
said, Reaper was like the most hyped thing that we all saw coming. It was. I don't know
Yeah.
how
yeah.
everyone can know
Yeah.
something is happening and still
Yeah.
be so excited, but it
Yeah.
certainly was.
yeah.
I'm really excited to explore the lore of Reaper because there's just so much like compelling stuff you could do with
Oh,
a
goodness,
like
yes.
Marquis descended sort of void set
Mhm.
hunter, like Alucard type character,
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Yep. It's gonna be
yeah, I'm really interested to see the direction they take it.
What would your theory be
think-
behind the whole void essentially being a
Mhm.
stand? What would you think about that? How do you
Well,
think
it
that has
does-
come into being?
It does seem like conceptually at least derivative of Gukumats, right? Like Ranjit's Gukumats is this this dragon that may or may not be a real dragon, but is either formed by or sealed with his blood, right? And he has like a soul link with it, and he can. It's sort of like an extension of himself.
Mm.
And I think that it's going to be something similar where we've made some sort of pact, some sort of link with a void set. I've even seen a compelling theory going around that it might be like the void's shard bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's
maybe
Unakalhai.
of our other
I think that's
incarnations.
Unakalhai. I think that's Unakalhai.
I don't think so. I think Unakalhai and what's his name? The little elf boy. I can't remember his name now. I'm pretty sure that those two are reflections of each other.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah?
I see. Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
I
not be adverse to playing with my void sense self.
mhm.
Just quit.
Yeah,
I'm just
that's
saying, we literally combine. We
Yeah.
actually
Mhm.
fuse.
Yeah.
We go
Mhm.
full Egeorum La Habrea. For
And so it's a very distinct possibility.
Though I guess technically that, now that I make that particular comparison, I guess it doesn't need, in order for us to do that, two fully unfractured. Actually, was Egeorum unsundered? I know La Habrea,
no, Igeoma's sundered.
she was sundered, yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, we have the capacity to do it with a lot of things, and Lord
Yeah.
knows, as we've seen with Xenos, it does not have to be yourself, but it would be really
Mhm.
nice for us for this to be one of those classes that even though you see everyone on, it's pretty uniquely your own, and you are just making a deal with
Yeah,
yourself, essentially.
yeah.
Mm.
I mean, there
Would make
are
for.
marquee. Go
Oh
ahead.
no, go ahead. No,
I was about. There are marquee
Ooh.
precedents for this kind of thing, right? Like Califasteri, for instance, she was basically like consuming void scent to transform herself into whatever the heck she is, that weird hybrid. We know that void scent themselves are but they're the same thing as sin eaters, just on the opposite side of the spectrum. They're just people that have
Yes.
consumed too much astral ether. So the problem is that like. Well, I mean, it's a very like problematic thing for the hero to be wielding, right? And I think
Yeah.
that a way around that could be that this void scent is a reflection of us in some way. I don't think that's necessarily the direction they're going to go in, but I think that would be really interesting. Sorry to interrupt you, Leek. You were making a point.
No, I was interrupting you because you like on a trend. Okay, no. So was essentially a throwaway comment of it would be cool to have that joining like function as a limit break visual. That'd be very interesting.
Mm.
That was all
Yeah.
I wanted to say. This is why I didn't want to
Mm.
stop you.
Oh yeah, they're gonna give it its own limit break. Oh fuck, man, I didn't even
Yeah,
think
they
about that.
will.
Yeah, it's gonna be beautiful
Yeah.
because they all are.
Yeah.
That's gonna be so cool. All right, so next up I
I
have
still
the
think they need to rework Warrior and Paladins.
No.
Right?
yeah.
Warriors is kind of neat, but Paladins is very.
Yeah, I think they probably need to change paladins. So the music for this trailer,
Ugh.
pretty good, right?
Oh, it's so good.
Hmm.
It's a lot of butt rock.
And yes, and we happen
Don't
chance to
care,
have
it's so
someone who
good.
is studying music and someone who studied the lore of the game. So now we can combine these two heads together. Please give us a breakdown.
Captain Planet, he's our hero.
Oh my goodness.
I'm actually little
By
known
our
fact
powers
about me.
combined.
I've little known fact about me. I've actually studied a lot of music as well.
Yeah, you play the
Here
saxophone.
we go,
Goodness.
even better.
Oof.
Yeah,
He plays the
Oh,
sax.
you can carry me.
yeah, I've played the sax for
you?
like 20 years.
Oh, I am horrifically jealous of you. That's like I think
Yeah.
like everyone who hears like, yeah, I want that.
Mhm. Look, I think it was great. I think it was a really interesting sort of medley that took us through a journey of all the expansions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was so just like on point for what Endwalker's ambition is as a narrative chapter. And I don't really have that much more to say about like from like a music theory perspective. I don't really have that much more to say about it. I'm in the middle of sort of digesting the lyrics. There's a lot of stuff in the lyrics about Azem, for instance, a lot of like sun and light and darkness and like amber color and that kind of stuff. There's a whole stanza in Draconic about the ancients and yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there.
So-
I think
Dylan, I want to know what you think.
I
Dylan.
don't.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't think. I think, or rather, I think that people overestimate the the difficulty in reading. I think that
Mhm.
it's more surface value than it lets on from a musical standpoint. We are, as you said, we are just going on a journey from 2.0 to Endwalk. And so we hear all the familiar motifs. Even if they're not as we remember them, you immediately recognize that's from Heavensward, that's from Soulbringers? What? No, that's from Heavensward, that's from
Stormblood.
Stormblood, and that's from Shadowbringers. And I genuinely think he wanted this to be heard. I don't think that he's trying for all these great, fantastical, difficult things. Like, this is something that's meant to be followed. The one thing that I
Yeah.
couldn't read too much into because I don't have access to it is the lyrics, and I think therein will lie all the meaningful like things to dig for. I don't think you're gonna find a lot of that in the music. But I will say it's fucking amazing. It does get a bit butt rock, but I mean, you are not immune to that. Neither am I. And it's just a really pleasant trip down memory lane as we plot on to the end of this chapter.
So I have a
Mm.
slight
And
theory.
it's exactly what it needed to be.
I have a slight theory when it comes to this like particular theme, because you guys have kind of already like Ethys, you were hoping for a darker version of Answers to be
Yeah.
like a Zodiac parallel.
Mhm.
Well, I think that this is what this theme is. I think it's a back and forth between Zodiac and Hydaelyn. Because it does
Really?
swap
I'm
back.
pretty
It does
sure-
swap back and forth between
Yeah,
Sam
Yeah.
Carter and Amanda.
I think that Sam Carter's voice here is us, actually. I think
Yeah.
that is the culmination of the journey, right? Is that we get Answers is Heinlein singing to her people, right? And Dragon Song is Dragon Song has like a bit of a sort of response as well. It's like, Heinlein, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And then Stormblood again is more of that, is like the people sort of echoing. And then Shadowbringers is more about like the ancients and Zodiac kind of telling their story. And I think like looking at the lyrics, is us sort of reflecting on our journey, at least like again Sam Carter's voice. And then you got all this really interesting stuff in Draconic, which actually I do have it here. So loose translation of the dragon speak stuff is the sight of the ancients' world in dreams does the treacherous heart of the crystal promise us. Standing alone, what sacrifice is destroyed? Choose wisely, the moon or the world.
Hmm.
And that again, that's the voice of. I mean, I don't know if it's the voice of explicitly like Vritra or Midgard Zormer or whatever, but that's the stanza that we get in Dragonspeak, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
The
Do
dragons
you
do
think-
feel to have a bit of a hive mind. Not like
Yeah.
excessively, but we know that their movements are knowable because
Mhm.
everyone takes orders from the dragons. So to have this just be like the voice of the dragon kind essentially wouldn't be unreasonable.
Yeah. Yeah.
do
I
you
think so.
do you think Midgard Summer will make a re-entrance?
I think he has to. I don't think that he's going to be able to like act after what happened with Omega. I don't think he's going to have like a huge presence, but we're gonna see everyone. We're gonna see all the major players are gonna have their their final sort of bow, if you will.
I think we'll see baby Midgar Sommer.
Yeah, he'll definitely. I think there'll definitely be some Midgard Zorma dialogue.
Yeah, as soon as like
Who's
Vitra
left in
shows
the
up
group?
as
So
Daja.
Yeah,
Vitra's going to
perhaps.
show up. Vitra's going to show up. Tiamat is presumably also going to make an appearance at some point. Bahamut is dead. Asdaja is unknown. Ratatoskr is
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
Nidhogger is dead. And so maybe
But
Svelgr-
Nidhogg is probably
Estinian is
through
Nidhogg.
Estinian. Yeah, he's acting through Estinian essentially.
Yeah.
Fair. So,
Yeah,
that's-
I don't think we're gonna see Tiamat again. I think Tiamat is like I've done my bit. I'm
Tiamat
taking
7.0.
my children and I'm going back to
Mirror City.
Mericedia.
Mercedia?
Yeah.
Mm.
Tiamat
Games-
7.0.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
we'll
so.
see. We see her again. So,
Okay, fair enough.
um,
So,
so we-
are you already
we all-
making the assumption that 7.0 will be Mercedia?
oh yeah,
that what
most
that's
definitely.
implying?
Yeah.
That's what I'm
entirely.
anticipating.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've
that
already
seems
got the
perfectly reasonable.
access to it after this expansion. We have the access to it. We have Thavnir, so
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
one step is Mericedia. So we all love the trailer, right? It was a good trailer.
Yeah.
Good trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. We talked about Reaper. We talked about the area of Charlene. They did show us a good bit of the moon, actually. Which there's
I was
an
surprised.
aetherite up there. There is an aetherite up there. An aetherite that actually looks like a Charlian aetherite.
Funny that.
And
nice, yeah.
they showed a study which also has some mixture of Charlian slash I guess Amarantine like looks to it.
Mm.
And then they showed a bunch of caverns that you can walk into.
It's going to be really interesting when the Ascian in charge is set of the Lufane.
So
You got the-
it's interesting actually because I think they're giving us a lot more areas. It feels like they're giving us a lot more areas in this expansion than they have in other ones.
Well, assuming there's still one they have to reveal, it's going to be the same number as Shadowbringers.
Well,
If
you
there's
have
more than
Garlemald.
one that they haven't revealed, then maybe.
Yeah, well, they have Garlemald. There's at least one or two areas in Garlemald, right?
Yeah.
All right. So there's at least
I think
one or
Garlemald's
two.
going to be one huge zone.
That's
Mm.
that's a good possibility.
Yeah.
There's at least one or two areas in Thavnir. That's not including the towns. All right.
Yeah, I think we're going to get Radzat
Okay, I was
Han,
about
and
to
then we're
say-
going to get Thavnir as like a big zone outside of
Mhm.
Radzat Han.
Yes, that would be my bet as well.
Yeah.
So we'll get Charlene and the
Mhm.
the Labyrinthos,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll get the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about the same amount, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know if I. Yeah, that
Seems
makes
really
sense
big,
actually.
though,
It
because of the
it's
rest of the world. Let's not forget.
it's weird because they're all like split up in different areas or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about, and then you like think about what we got in Shadowbringers, which was all of the areas in Shadowbringers and in Norvrant were pretty much connected to each other.
Yeah.
Mainly because they're the only surviving areas.
Yeah, mainly because it's
It
only
was-
surviving area. But even with like even with like Stormblood, the areas that we got in
Oh, I think you're
Stormblood
gonna get
outside
It was
of
very
out,
linear.
yeah, it's going to be weird how like the progression we go into this because like at what point do we go, because there's obviously an area that they haven't shown us yet. They do this all the time.
Sure.
Yes.
So what area do we think that is?
The lunar subterranean, like not just that little.
But they
bit
kind of
set up,
show
like a
well,
proper-
yeah.
a
Oh, so what, you
proper lunar subterranean, like a full-on Amarat city.
Yeah.
think they're going to do another Amarat city inside the moon again?
I don't think it'll be played the same way, but I think like that is logically the best place to hide something now.
Or, house those Loporits, of course.
Yeah, and also,
Oh.
whatever Allergan stuff may or may not be there.
Yes,
True.
yes.
True.
Good lord, we can't have an ending to 2.0 without bringing the fucking Allergan again.
Do
I mean,
you
there's
think-
a crashed Allergan ship on the moon.
Yeah,
in
there is
Allergan.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Zone
Do you think
trailer.
there will be survivors from yay old times,
I think that there's either going to be descendants of survivors
Mm-hmm. Yes.
that are perhaps even, serving the Ascians there.
Mhm.
Or I think that ship might be something that the Ironworks has sort of reverse engineered and put together, and that's how we're getting there.
How we get
Mhm.
there? That
Yeah.
might
Yeah.
be.
I'm hoping for the former though, because I think that would be really compelling.
Yeah, that
That'd
would
be
be.
super interesting.
Imagine there's an
your
Allagan
point-
civilization up there.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
they'd be
that's-
like
that's
Ascian
pretty much-
cultists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
look at
in
them.
the
To
biggest
your
thing
original
in
point
visual
of-
in the trailer. Oh, sorry. You going to original point? Go ahead.
To your original point, I'm not too worried about the weird spacing of zone. I do understand the inclination to look back to Stormblood and have a bit of worry. I think that's reasonable because I think Stormblood's story did suffer for that. But let's not forget that was because it wasn't just the zones that were scattered far and wide, it's the story itself. We essentially ran through 2 stories. I think no matter the distance in this one in particular, because of the cohesive narrative that we'll be running through, it shouldn't feel quite so. But yeah,
Quite so.
as you're saying,
Quite so what?
Oh, you
Awkward.
cut out.
Yeah, you cut out.
Awkward.
well, no,
Awkward.
the
That's
word
what,
I
that was the
the word I
thing.
said, awkward was the word.
Oh,
It became awkward. Oh.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
so what
I
I was saying
can
was.
see that. Go ahead.
Oh, no.
No, I have nothing.
Okay, well, so the biggest thing in the trailer we see immediately is a grand battle. How do you think the events lead up to that?
Oh, well, the
Oh,
Lunar
yeah.
Primals is stage 1, you know?
Mm.
And the towers are going to be, the catalyst for, I mean, obviously for that, but also moving into the next stage, which is going to be, the compulsive summoning of these Terminus beasts en masse, exactly as it was for the Ancients.
Mm.
And that is going to be
Lunar
the
tier.
vehicle. Yeah, I mean, it's clearly Fandaniel trying to replicate the conditions that necessitated the summoning of Zodiac in the first place in
Mhm.
order to compel the world to bring him back or to restore that connection somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And our journey is going to be about discovering why Azem was opposed to both the summoning of Zodiac and Heidelin. What exactly was the middle path that Azem was exploring and didn't get to in time? And how can we succeed where Azem failed and find that middle path?
Yeah, they are using Azem for a lot of their merchandise selling as well, because we're getting an Azem
Also,
pin.
a lot of the lyrics in the trailer are all about Azem.
Yeah.
Because we're getting a pin. The watch, one of the watches has an Azem symbol on it.
Here we go. Sorry to interrupt, but
No, go
here's
ahead.
why I think that what's his name, Sam Carter,
Yeah.
why his voice is representing us. One of the first lines here, Heart of Amber, that's obviously Azem.
Mm-hmm.
Heart of Amber, wrought in time, burning brightly all in white. Kindred souls are everywhere. Sorrow's silence will be my prayer. Yeah, so much stronger now we wake, tales of lost, the pyre in flames, a lot of that kind of language. I really think it's about us sort of shouldering that burden and trying to find how to complete that journey.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Anyway, you were saying.
I got no argument to that.
I mean, it makes sense to the point, because I was like saying, because they're putting Azem in a lot of merchandise as well. So ever since we've like come to the realization that we are a shard of Azem, they've been doubling down on that. So yeah, our obviously our past self, our unsundered self, is definitely going to play probably a huge part in at least the final section of this story.
Mm.
We just need another Emmett Selk waving his hand thing like in Seed of Sacrifice.
Vinar's gonna have her own special wave. She's gonna do like a Queen Elizabeth wave.
Oh God,
Oh,
yeah.
I hope
yeah,
so.
yeah,
How wonderful would that be?
um, so we already covered Charlene being dicks, and they're being dicks for the reason we've always thought that they're being dicks.
Mhm.
Yeah, nothing's changed.
They revealed what the 24-man is in this
Mhm.
in this live
Yes, they
letter. And this-
did.
yes.
Yes.
Myths of what is it? Myths of
Myths of the realm.
Myths of the
Of the
realm.
realm, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be so focused. I love that 14 is actually a bit of a theme park for Final Fantasy. I do very much enjoy that. I am a fan here to be serviced. But the fact that this is just the 14 team being allowed to cut loose, answer no doubt a lot of questions we have,
Mhm.
makes me very
Yes.
I'm really excited for the prospect that, like, as we know, 6.1 is going to be moving on to the next thing, but 6.0 is going to be so frenetic and is going to like barrel so rapidly towards this epic conclusion that
Mhm.
we're going to need a space where we can linger a little bit before we move on. And I think that this is going to be like, okay, what's left? What are the questions that are left unanswered? Let's just get them all, hit them all, and give everyone like everything that is left.
This and Pandemonium are going to fill those sections.
Yes,
Mm.
absolutely.
Mm.
So
Ugh.
we were thinking like, oh, we were told that it was going to explore, a secret or some secrets in Eorzean lore specifically. And we were looking at Silver Tier and thinking like, okay, well that's the big one, maybe like, but how would you make it 24 minutes like entirely about Silver Tier? That's interesting. It seems like we're going to be going to like a lot of different places in Eorzea, and a lot of these zones that we haven't been able to access, a lot of these like mysterious little pockets that we haven't really been able to get into. And it's like, all right, we're gonna hit all of them. I'm so excited about that prospect.
I feel like the Silver Tier question is probably going to be answered in the actual MSQ as well.
Mm.
I think a lot of that's going to be answered in 5.55.
Yeah. Which will be
Do you
interesting
think
because that
in the
comes
24
soon.
man? Do you think in the 24 man we'll be fighting avatars of the 12 or effigies or?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I would find that like interesting. I'd find that compelling. But don't know.
I have an assumption that we will not. I think that even whilst we are learning about that, we're probably more likely to be fighting off beasts to find that are defending like information. Maybe not defending, but that are holding information that we need on the truth of these myths as we go digging. I should imagine it'll be kind of Indiana Jones, in that the fighting isn't really important. We're here for the information because it belongs in a museum.
All right,
And the fights will be a means to an end, because it's a 24 man and we need fighting
And gear.
and gear.
And gear.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. Well, it was
But my
staged
money
in
would be
Sharlayan,
that
wasn't it?
What is?
From
know?
the screenshot we was shown, was it staged in
I don't know what
Sharlayan?
that was.
No, it was just it looked just like a circle, like a symbol that had the 12 symbols on it.
Yeah,
It
I was
was
trying to peer at the
Are
background.
you talking about the
behind that.
screenshot? That's
Yeah,
the
that's
Sanctum
right.
of the 12.
Is it just a sanctum?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the the relief over the Sanctum of the
Britannia?
12. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
in the shroud.
Ah,
Yeah,
we're desecrating the church.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Wouldn't be the first time we've done that in a Final Fantasy title, would it?
We're going to get married.
Well, a lot of people were
God.
thinking like, oh, that's weird. It's going to be like set under the Sanctum of the 12. No, I think that that's just key art of like,
I see.
here's all the 12, all the symbols of the 12 in one place.
Yes, I see.
Yeah.
I personally like the idea that we're going to have to marry our way.
Marry our way in.
We all had to choose a god when we made our characters. I'm just saying. Hope you chose well.
Oh, dear.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's going to be weird because they stated that 6.0 is going to wrap up everything that we've been working up to since 1.0.
Mhm.
I'm still so surprised.
How long do you think
That
this
they're doing this.
game is going to be? Like this expansion. How long do you think like this section of the expansion is going to be? Do you think it's going to be any longer than what we've gotten previously, like hours wise?
Oh, you mean like
Probably.
how long is the 6.0 MSQ gonna take?
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
think it's going to be a lot longer than Shadowbringers and
No.
like Stormblood and all that?
No. I think it'll be the same length. I think it's going to be extremely fast paced. I think we're going to like really barrel towards this conclusion, and again they're going to leave the sort of lingering and the dust settling to be done in the side content.
Yeah, all we need to do is finish it. We can have bits and pieces explained to us going forward because the game's not. But
Yeah.
I think I don't think they can actually. I think they would have had problems with management. They tried to like make a bigger title than you. Also, I just don't think they had the time, manpower, resources to work that kind of magic during this last, 2 years.
True.
And obviously, they would have been working longer, but that would have been a pretty big hindrance just there at the end.
Mm-hmm.
My question is to follow up on this then. Is there any loose end that you would like to see resolved?
That we don't know is getting resolved.
Yes.
Oh, jeez. I mean, all of them. Like, I'm not going to be satisfied with any loose ends. I never will be.
You're like, you see this
Oh, yeah,
rock
we'll
over
hear
here?
about
Why
it.
is this rock over here? All right.
I say just over the top, off the top of my head, the big one for me would be like, hey, any of the Sundernasians that have survived, what are they up to? Where are they? What are they doing? Are they making a new life for themselves? What are they gonna move on to? Presuming they haven't all been destroyed.
Mm.
What about you guys?
I don't know yet.
I don't think I know the story well enough to really be displeased with like any lingering threads until someone brings it up to me, if I'm honest.
I think
Fair
I
enough.
think I can agree with you, Ethys, on this one. I want to know where Travanchet is. Actually, he's
Travanchet, I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Can we just
He's
yeah?
dead.
That's
But
like,
by
just assume that
who?
that we've offed him.
Doesn't matter. Travanchet. I don't remember if it was Oda or Koji, but Travanchet, it has been told to us that like he wasn't a convocation member. He wasn't a big deal. He was one of the jobbers. He was one of the black mask jobbers. And whether it turns out that he
Gaius
was
took
like
him
probably, honestly, probably, if not someone else first, like he was never meant to be a big deal.
You know what my one is? Can you guess?
No.
I think
Went
he's
to
a
the
big
middle of
deal.
the pub.
I think he's a very big deal.
Gaius.
No?
No, Travanchet.
Hildebrand.
Hild-
Where the fuck did he go?
Uh,
Okay. all right.
away.
He disappeared.
He's
in
on the
fucking
first.
teleportation
he's on the first. We see him in the Heroes Gauntlet.
Yeah, that's not a resolution though, is it?
No, he's just fucking off in the first, man.
He appears a spectral figure in one dungeon as an Easter egg. Oh,
I don't know if
where is
resolution
he?
is really Hildy's style.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
It's
If
not.
you're looking for resolution from that idiot, boy oh boy, he'll be playing this game till the end of days.
The end of days are
Oh,
coming up, man.
God. I want him to just hurtle through the sky mid-battle. Just land.
Imagine Hildebrand in the main scenario.
Yeah, exactly. He just like appears out of nowhere.
He fights alongside
Given the
Estinian.
strength of that family, I wouldn't be surprised if they were like unaware that they had been rejoined a couple of different times. They're all
Oh
freaks of nature.
gosh.
True.
Oh my gosh.
Could you imagine a fully put together Godbert?
No, it'd be a terror. He'd be on the level of
His wife.
Or
That's what I'm
Julian?
terrified
Yeah, Julian.
Sun Goku. What was it? Shun Goku Satsu with a frying pan.
yeah.
Well, we get the release date. It's actually a lot farther
Mhm.
out than I expected it to be because I thought it was going to be at least in October.
Okay.
But they pushed it all the way to November 23rd, and we'll get the early access in November 19th, like always. We
Mhm.
always get it. We always get it the Friday before launch. The actual launch is the 19th. 23rd is just, hey, the game's out, guys, go play.
And it's not like there's like not much to do in between this because they did kindly put together a schedule, a roadmap.
Yeah. So my thinking that they were going to put it in October was kind of correct because they did say that they are pretty much at the point where they just need an actual couple of months to be ready, but they want to put as much time as they can into it. And so the farthest that they possibly thought that they could push it back would be the 23rd of November. So
I'm glad they did. I'm glad they're not rushing it.
Yeah.
You know, I think one of the nice things about 14, besides the fact that, you know, shit floats and people that are cranky are always going to seem a lot louder than everyone else.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know, we're a relatively like mature fan base that I think the median age is sort of like older millennial, and we got lives and we got other shit to do, and you know, we'll do it. And it's fine, it's cool. I think the only really rough thing about the release date is that Savage is going to release like right on top of Christmas, and some people are going to be very salty about that.
yeah.
I have an idea that's going to make people even more salty, or perhaps slightly less. I genuinely don't know. I believe that since Japan recognizes Christmas the day, not the event.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that's
Even
going
it's
to
just the
be
24th, really.
Yeah, exactly. I think
It's
gonna be
not.
delayed.
It's not
I
a
think
national
I think
or public holiday.
I think they understand that, like, Christianity and Christian nations, they're kind of a big thing, that this is going to be like a big deal for them. I feel like they're aware of this, and they're gonna be like, look, we understand that world races are. We're not going to make Christmas. And we understand that you're probably going to be further angry that we've delayed it a week or two. But this just allows everyone to have that even footing.
Yeah.
And instead, we love you, have something else to do.
So
Some small event.
I think it's possible that they release Savage the same week they release normal. Because all of the raiders want that.
The first tier, that would be. I mean, not all of the raiders want that.
Most
that
of
would
the
be
raiders want
aggressive.
that. Well, okay, so
That would
with
be
the scheduling, I've heard a lot of raiders think that they should release it the same week.
That's
I'm
putting a
sure
lot of
the
pressure on people to level up and be ready to raid in 2 weeks. You know,
I mean,
even for
like,
Wild
the whole
First.
The
reason
people
they do this is so
the people that want to
even-
raid will be ready.
But what about the people that also like to raid, that, you know, perhaps do want to have that bit of time to enjoy, you know, their effectively new toy? God forbid anyone wants to take Reaper in. Now they have to actually have an optimized rotation day one.
Yeah, I think it's far more likely they're going to push it back than push it forward. I think that having it right on top of Christmas is going to be like such a bitch for Wild First in particular. And I think that people will be really salty if they push it back to early January, but I wouldn't be surprised if they give
I'm
it
not
another
sure
week.
they will, because in Japan, New Year's is a very long holiday. It's like a week-long one, really.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So they won't do it first week
I
of
think
January.
I think that they won't push it back at all. I think they'll leave it the same week as
We'll
Christmas.
just leave it. I guess
Yeah.
I'll have to.
It's just they've unintentionally and through no fault of their own put themselves in a really bad place.
Yeah. I don't think, because I was in Arise's stream last night, and they were talking about they've got to push it back, like they've got to like delay it or whatever, and I was like, as much as like Japan recognizes Christmas, I don't think they find it that important to delay the patch or delay the Savage.
Make no mistake, when I say that Japan recognizes Christmas, it's not so. Let's be diplomatic about it. I don't mean that it's important that Japan does. What I mean is that the developer who are very
Yeah.
in tune with the
Yeah.
community, understand
Yes,
that a
yes.
huge portion of their community celebrate the event that is Christmas and not
Yeah.
just the day that it.
Yeah.
And
Yes, yes, yes.
I would be so bold as to say JP would be a very one, and so to cater to that would be interesting. Though, admittedly, there are a bunch of religions that don't celebrate uh, during that particular time. Actually, holy crap, that's not true. Both. Yeah, actually, no, that's just not true. This is huge for like all of the religions of the book,
Yeah.
and for a couple of. This is a big time. I genuinely think that they'll understand that maybe don't do that. They were willing to delay. We've already seen they're willing to delay it to not risk, imperfection. Why stumble at the end for so many people and just essentially do this thing that puts them in a real bad way?
The thing is, they're in the position of they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. So they just have to make a decision.
They're absolutely not damned if they don't. They can delay this, and sure, a couple of people will be salty, but I think a grand majority of people will be like,
Well, I mean, like
"Oh,
they said,
thank
if
God."
they delay it, they delay it by a week, and that week falls on New Year's. They're not going to delay it by more than a week if they delay it.
So actually, why would they only delay it a week? Like, I realize
Yeah,
this is going to
can do
be
it 2 weeks.
unconventional. Yeah, I realize this would be unconventional, and it would be a very long 0.0 package,
Yeah.
essentially, without that 0.1 update. But
Yeah.
it's an ugly time frame for so many people.
I don't know, in a type of development situation where they're pretty strict on making sure they keep the same type of timing on everything.
That's
It's
not necessarily true anymore, though, is it?
No, it is still true, because you can still count the weeks that the patches have been, and they've still been pretty much on point.
Oh, okay. I see it.
Even though they've been they've been slightly delayed after they pretty much after they figured out everything and how to like work with all this work through COVID or whatever, the patches have been the way they've been spaced out all the time. So
an interesting thing to draw your eye to on the roadmap is that they don't give an exact month. They go July to June to July, or July to August.
Yeah.
For the 5.57 and 5.58 patches.
Well, we'll know the Rising is going to end up on the same day, around the same day it normally ends up, which is like mid-August. Because the Rising and that is supposed to celebrate the anniversary of 14. So it's gonna fall on that day, on normally on that day.
For sure.
The 0.57 and 0.58 patches, they've always been a little wishy-washy with each expansion, because they're just to unlock Savage and unlock and get yourself the 900 tomes. The 0.58 one is obviously going to be the data center patch. And Make It Rain will happen probably beginning of July, most likely. And who knows about the 15 collab?
That's just a filler, really.
Yeah. I mean, who knows really? Well, we'll know. They'll probably, when they start doing actual Endwalker live letters, they'll probably explain what's going to be going on when towards the time that the game comes out.
That's something they've been exceptional at since the beginning.
And then they were going to end the show. Well, actually, I think the collector's edition was shown first, which it looks really cool. Yeah. Minus a bit of the statue. The front end of the statue kind of looks a little weird.
And you can take it off. It's great. So it's perfect.
Yeah. You get all of the artworks from 1.0 and on.
Yep.
With it, so that's really cool. You get the Endwalker Amano artwork slapped onto the side of the box, which looks really cool. And they have a bunch of different ways you can buy the collector's edition, and it's a bit weird consumer wise. But I understand the way they did it because Steam did unfortunately have that section where you were not able to buy like you didn't have a physical version, and so you weren't able to get a collector's edition. You would have had to buy the collector's edition with the game, but not use the game because you were using it on Steam. So, that was pretty interesting. And then they were gonna end the show, I think. Or was the strain?
They were.
They were gonna end the show, and then they were like, "Oh hey, bunnies." They By the way,
There's this little thing that I'm sure nobody wants.
they confirmed
no one
Mel
really cared
Vieira.
about it.
Yeah, no one cared about it. They confirmed Mel Vieira, and they confirmed that they are working on female Hrothgar.
Yeah. There wasn't because my immediate reaction is, "Where's the ladies?" But then after that, they did confirm that they are working on it. But because of time constraints, please be more patient. So I was like, okay, I'll wait.
So Mel Vieira will come in 6.0, and everybody gets their bunnies, their male bunnies.
Yeah.
So I couldn't tell because when they announced the male Vieira, there was this really high pitched sound that happened. I assume that was just Harry.
Yeah, no, that was Harry.
I couldn't be sure. Yeah, it was just, oh boy, it was jarring, and I had to catch myself for a moment. But that's what I suspected it was.
Harry broke sound barriers with his squeal all the way from Australia.
Yeah.
Because this is the one thing he's been wanting ever since they announced the Vieira period.
Yeah.
So.
And it seems like that they're actually shorter than the female Vieiras, and I like this very much. Yeah, a little bit. I like it.
I do like that the dimorphism is in. I guess this isn't truthfully correct, but it's the best way to say it. Is in the female favor of this time. Because they're the warriors, they're the practitioners of all the martial nonsense in the Vera world, and so you have these really, really androgynous, cute bunny boys, and who may actually be what they're supposed to be in shorter. Now, the other half of that is the bunny girls might just have bigger hair, bigger ears, and bigger heels. But
but not all their model, especially different gear, they don't have heels, so
true. But I think it's the right call.
Yeah.
To finally favor the big ladies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, did they confirm that the dev team was working on this in their off time, like they've been doing with a lot of the stuff they've been giving us? That's what my assumption.
Said, isn't it?
That's what my assumption
I don't recall. I can't remember exactly.
I don't know if it was quite so explicit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's what they do with Mahjong. That's what they've been doing with the hat, some of the hats for the Vieira and the Hrothgar.
Yeah. I think Yoshida suggested that the team was like pressuring him, being like, "Hey, this is what the community wants. We have to do this." But I don't think it was like, "And we're going to do it now in time."
Yeah.
Yes.
Man, we'll talk about. Actually, I want to skip a little forward to the Q&A where with Ishikawa and them on the stage, and how they were like, how he needed to do so much so much damage control because people were thinking, oh, so Ishikawa was just forced to work 36 hours at a time. And he's like, no, I swear, I swear, I'm not making people work more than they should. God. Yeah, I mean, I don't see how people can say that this dev team doesn't like their community or doesn't care about their community when they consistently.
Do people say that?
People do say that.
Thank you.
People do say
Who
that.
Who are these people? I need to introduce
I don't know. It seems apocryphal
to the actual
me.
dev team.
Yeah, no, it does seem impossible. All right, but like people do say that. Like the 14 devs are like crap or whatever, and that they don't the word
I think people
they
accuse the
don't
14 devs of having like bad priorities and like, oh, they didn't give us Ultimate because the people that make Ultimate are obviously making the Bunny Boys. There's stuff like that, but I don't
or
think
saying that they're
anyone.
lazy
Yeah.
It's a fundamental
Frustrates people.
misunderstanding of what development means or
Yeah.
entails.
Yeah, exactly.
So
It's weird though. The only negative thing I think I've ever really heard that didn't feel like someone was just being a memer was just the idea that the devs weren't good enough at their own game and weren't giving enough challenging content. And boy, oh boy, them days is over.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I was it was what, like, producer G must have taken that personally because that stopped being true.
I get a little peeved when people start like bad mouthing anything that this division particularly does, because they're literally working to death at some points and times for either this game or, I mean, I can assume that the same type of like work structure goes on for them making 16 as well.
Yeah, I think that would be
Possibly,
reasonable.
yeah.
So
I don't know. I don't think I've had a team of people that I've been so defensive of. Like, I'm not like I was never attracted in the same way to like Salud, to
Thank you.
Kojima, to the Capcom crew who made funny games, anyone in Bandai Namco. I've always happily said, yeah, they're not as good as they think they are. They're great, but they're on a pedestal. No, I absolutely have like this immense spite for Creative Business Unit 3. They just seem so good. I want them to succeed.
I
They
immediately
clearly
sim for
want me
them.
to enjoy their stuff.
Immediately sim for them.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
admittedly, 16 doesn't press all my buttons, but I am absolutely willing to give them enough rope to hang me with multiple times because I know their pedigree. So
Yeah.
like, also they decided to turn into a real character. I don't care if
Yeah.
it looks a little muted and down to earth. Whatever, I'm in. So
No.
I don't know. I think they're great. I think they've bent over backwards for the community multiple times. I think they're, if it's not evident after this FanFest in particular, they are so in tune with what the community wants and what needs to be done.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll always give them benefit.
Especially with this this next bit of news that I'm sure Ethys was which we know Ethys was extremely happy about.
Yeah.
So
what happened in the moment?
Yeah, so Yoshi P went on this like long talk about how he loves the 14 community and how the 14 community's been great, but that there are parts of the 14 community that have had to suffer through a lot of things, including the Oceanic region having to deal with an exorbitant amount of ping due to not having their own data center and always having to either go to NA or Japan. This then like not too long after that, they announced Oceania is getting a data center, and it looks like it is going to be centered in somewhere in Australia, which Ethys is fucking ecstatic over.
It's almost definitely going to be in Sydney. Last time I was inquiring with Yoshida about this, shortly before Shattering, as he said that basically Square Enix had been in negotiation with the New South Wales government about, loaning, space and, real estate and all that. Every single time that I have had the opportunity to interview Yoshida, I've always led with questions about an Oceanic data center. And from my perspective, there had been very, very little progress on that front. And it was all about Square Enix being incredibly conservative and having a sort of reactive rather than prescriptive attitude towards community growth, where it seemed that coming from the top, it was always about if there is enough people in the region playing the game, then we'll build a data center, rather than, hey, let's build a data center in the region so that people will play the game,
Yeah.
And just anecdotally, I've hosted, multiple events for Final Fantasy XIV in Australia in official capacities, and have had literally thousands of people coming through saying, why would I play this game that doesn't have a server in Australia and I have to play either at 250 to 400 ping, or else pay an additional fee for a VPN in order to be able to raid, when every single other competitive MMORPG has an Australian server. It's just completely unacceptable, and there's only so much you can say to that, and it's been heartbreaking. It's been something that we've been fighting for about 6 years now. Around 2015, a lot of us in the 14 community were like, okay, we need to centralize. We need to collect all of the disparate Australia, New Zealand, Final Fantasy 14 sort of sub communities, and put them in one space where we can collect analytics that we can report back to Square Enix and demonstrate to them why it's worthwhile pursuing this, and show them the kind of growth and push for that growth. And we've got dozens of people that have been volunteering dozens of hours every week for 5-6 years in growing this community completely pro bono, just so that we could make this happen. And seeing it finally come to fruition and finally pay off a couple of years ahead of when I thought it was actually going to, is just it's exquisite. I am so proud of all of the community members and all the community builders in the Final Fantasy XIV ANZ space. And yeah, it's just I'm so happy about it. It's absolutely wonderful. And there's a bit of salt coming from the Central and South America community and the Central and South African community as well. And to them, I say that you need to look at what we have done as a case study. You need to take initiative. You need to take it into your own hands. You need to centralize and connect your communities in the area. You need to start collecting analytics and connecting with whoever runs the PR for your region, and basically start getting that data in front of Matsuda, and eventually it will pay off demonstrably.
Yeah.
So
it seems like
that's where we're at.
It seems like the correct way to go. Obviously, because it worked.
Yeah, finally, bloody finally. And I mean, this has so much potential for the region as well, in that I would not be surprised if 12 months down the road, when they actually launch the data center, they're going to start hiring for an Oceanic community team, for instance, to give us some representation. If they start looking at more events in the region, even things like, if I want to pay for a sub, I have to pay in euros, and the conversion rate is astronomical. If I want to buy merchandise, I'm shit out of luck, because they will not ship to the region. And when they've committed to making a data center, they have to rectify all of those things. They have to start putting solutions in place, and that is extremely exciting.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, speaking of which, I have some merchandise I have to ship to Felice, because
exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
because of said
Felice has to
thing.
go through us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you guys. You've been Ever since I started watching it, you've been like, we need Australian data centers, or we need oceanic data centers. We need this. We need this. I mean, even Yoshi P, like, visited you guys in 2014 and was like, how do you guys even play on this?
Yeah, he tried to play Titan Extreme in Melbourne, and because he thought we were hyperbolizing, you know.
Yeah.
He thought that there's no way it could be that bad, and he came here and he tried to do Titan Extreme, and he couldn't dodge landslides, and he realized that like what we were having to do, and this was before they increased the server tick rate to kind of help alleviate stuff like this.
Yeah.
But what he realized and what he understood is that what we had to do was rope learn all of the fights and know exactly when a mechanic was coming out 2 seconds before it did. We had to start moving for landslides before we saw the cast bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, I get it. This is, you're right. You guys are not just whinging. This is completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And ever since then, he's been on our side. And he's been a champion for this. And I've, kept pressing and kept pressing. I've pressed, like, for myself, I've pressed him representing Red Bull and representing fandom in, like, every capacity, every opportunity I can. I don't want to take credit for this because, again, like, I did community management and admin for the ANZ community for a couple of years, but there have been people that have been doing this like every single day for 6 years, like pretty much as a full-time job pro bono to make this happen.
Yeah.
And like, I've just been, on the verge of tears of happiness for those people to just finally have this pay off. It just must be so incredibly gratifying.
Yeah.
You
so
know they
happy
drank a lot of
for you.
Fosters that
Yeah.
day.
Fuck you.
I hope
You just lost any Aussie sub that came in here. If they're still here, you just lost them.
Oh
Listen,
no, what have we
listen,
done?
Awkward does not speak for the rest of us. We know that shit. We know that's not even real.
This is why I
You know
said this
better.
2 hours into the video, and not everybody watches the whole thing.
Oh.
Well, you better hope so.
But I do
I
do
love
hope
the Australians.
moving
I give them shit.
forward, This is the rule and not the exception. I don't quite understand why Australia, specifically Australia and New Zealand, have to fight for this with literally everything that comes out.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a big population, and as I was saying before, it's not just ANZ. It's the entire area. It goes
Yeah.
beyond them, and they're all
Yeah.
impacted by this. And it's just so common to see them completely. I mean, like, just completely ignored for the entire lifespan of a game that they're very involved in.
It's a cultural issue, and I could speak about this for hours. Like, I could have an entire podcast series on the ANZ and the oceanic, like, gaming industry, but it is a massive cultural issue. There are, I could list on one hand the number of publishers that have offices here that actually have like proper representation here. The vast majority, and I don't want to. This is going to sound like I'm trashing people, and I don't want to do that. But at the same time, it's the truth. What happens is a publisher allocates a budget of $150,000 to $200,000 to a PR agency in Australia that manages a bunch of different accounts that don't have the same, like, they don't have people that are real they don't play the game, you know?
Yeah.
And what happens is they get paid $150,000 to find some like volunteer community members to run, Discords and Facebook groups and, and stuff like that, and just like sit back and there's no oversight, right? Because it's not a priority for these publishers really to get invested in the region. they just throw a little bit of money at it and then just kind of step back and go, all right, job's done, you know? And Square Enix has been getting like better and better and better and better over the years. Like I've seen a vast improvement over the last 6 years about the way Square Enix Europe sort of handles their relationship with the Oceanic region. They're doing like such a good job at the moment, but in the broader industry, it really is like kind of tragic.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's just like rock
Um,
paper shotgun getting that one guy to come out to FanFest that one year.
Oh,
Yeah,
Please,
yeah. I
why
mean,
would we?
exactly. It's that kind of shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is absolutely true, and it's something I think about from time to time. Probably not as often as I should because I have the luxury of living in California. But I'm not originally from here, and so occasionally I'll remember how absolutely dog shit everything is back home, and that's
Mhm.
still technically America. But I guess they're working off the same services like Central America and South America. Because I mean, quite frankly, we're just a couple hundred miles away from South America. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I can't like I've gone back home a few times. I've attempted to do anything, and boy oh boy, that's so I can't imagine being in that state for every release of everything ever in perpetuity.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
hopefully that this is one of the major shifts. I mean, obviously, I don't expect it to be the case for a lot of other companies. I think not even Square. I think you're far more charitable than I. I think particularly this division on this particular topic has a lot to gain and understand that, and has been pressed on enough. Because again, as you say, this is not a Yoshi P. This is not a Creative Business Division 3 thing.
No,
This
I know.
is absolutely someone higher up the food chain who doesn't know any better and who has to be persuaded.
Mm.
Mhm.
And it's
Yeah,
taken
it just
Hopefully
sucks that the people that
the
have to persuade him are the players, you know,
yeah,
and that we
yeah,
don't have sufficient advocacy and sufficient representation. But we do now,
You
yeah,
don't, and
and like that's so exciting.
without Yoshida, you wouldn't
yeah,
have.
Exactly.
Without winning over the
yeah.
dev team, this would
Hopefully,
never have been a possibility.
yeah. I'm just hoping like hopefully the reception and the feedback from all this will be a swift kick up the bum. People will like in other companies and other publishers and whatnot will take notice and
Mhm.
see how important it is.
Yeah, I really hope so.
Well, we could talk about this literally all morning.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. I could. I really could.
Yeah. So the last thing on day one, which I skipped a bunch of stuff because I didn't actually watch anything after the keynote other than the piano concert. So what else happened? What else happened day one? Because I feel like it was just a bunch of like a community things, right?
There was a segment with Oda where
Yeah.
he kind of like went through a couple of zones and did a sort of, you know, impromptu law tour type thing. I haven't had the chance to watch all that yet because I had to go and crash and sleep myself afterwards,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
haven't caught up with
Mm.
everything. It didn't seem like there was anything new there, but it's always really cool getting his insights, you know,
Yeah.
and kind of
Mm.
reiterating on you know his thoughts behind the things that end up, you know, making it into each of these zones.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was also live readings from the Japanese voice actors for
Right.
a few characters as well. They took some scenes and they had a script with them and they read through as the scene played out. That was interesting to see.
Yeah, Ishikawa actually wrote all the stuff that they voiced
Yeah.
that day.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was mentioning that on the second day during the
Mhm.
Q&A.
Yes.
But the big thing that happened at the end of the first day was a piano concert, which obviously we have Keiko perform every fan fest
Yeah.
at the end. She's amazing. She's honestly probably one of the best pianists in Japan. And she every time she's playing, she looks like she's enjoying the shit out of it.
Yeah.
And then we had Soken come on stage and sing Lahi with his automatones. Or he sang the Raktika Greatwood theme.
God bless that man.
Yeah.
So
Goodness.
so they revealed the next day after that, during the opening ceremony of day 2, that the reason why Soken sounded like that was because his voice was absolutely fucking wrecked that day for talking as much as he had
Aw.
to throughout the whole entire day.
I'm sure. Absolutely.
So he did not intentionally sing bad, but I think it worked out for him better that he
It was
did
so
sing
good.
bad.
Yeah.
And Keiko gave the best deadpan face ever. Like, she was just like, I did not expect him to actually sing this bad. What the hell?
It was great. It was fantastic. I loved it.
And also, Soken on automatones is just the greatest thing ever.
I love that is his go-to for shenanigans.
Yep, that or a trumpet.
I feel silly for this because I know he's a multi-instrumentalist, but I always
Yep.
associate him with like piano and strings. That I see, like I saw his trumpet on stage, and I was like, "Are they bringing out another member?" And then he
No,
picked it up.
no.
I was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh,
Right.
when you
I'll
see the
just
trumpet come out,
consistently be impressed by him.
you immediately, every time the trumpet comes out, automatically think Brute Justice, because that's
I
the
did.
one song
Yeah.
he goes to.
Yeah.
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 No, like don't get me wrong. I knew what song was going to be played. It was
No.
immediately obvious. I
He
just
can-
didn't know who was going to play the actual trumpet.
I think he can play every instrument. I think he can.
He could. Yeah.
Yeah.
He could. He's definitely of the acumen that he can pick up and fiddle with something for a couple hours and, have it make a pretty decent noise.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, he knows enough about another form of that instrument they can transfer over whatever needed, either the ability to play on reeds or form his mouth to play on a brass.
Yeah.
Dude's impressive.
Yeah.
So the next day we had the live letter at the beginning. The only thing we really got out of that was the date. It's going to be May 25th. Pretty much everybody knew that.
And that we're going to be getting a media tour somewhere around September or October, which I assume is going to be digital and remote.
Yeah.
I can only hope that they'll think to invite me for that again.
Yeah.
Let's
very
hope we get big enough so they can be like, please, Square, let one of us
maybe.
play.
Maybe.
I'm not even so much interested in that, just so much as the ability to go out there and really grow our
Yeah.
base. So I'm
Well-
going to be openly selfish about that.
I assume if they do a
The
digital
networking
one,
opportunities there are going to be amazing.
yeah, they're gonna if they do one, it's most likely going to be digital, and they'll have people set up on remote servers
Yeah.
to
Yes.
play and
Mhm.
record.
Yeah, which is a
Yeah.
No,
huge
we
undertaking.
won't see them do
Yeah.
Yes, for
anything
sure.
in person again until next year, I should imagine.
Yeah.
hmm
And even then, I
At the
guess what
earliest,
events
yeah.
will they possibly hold in between FanFest?
I feel like they accidentally let the media tour thing slip.
Oh.
Because they
I
didn't.
don't think so.
Because it was such a quick passing. They didn't
Yeah.
linger on it. They just said media tour, and then they just went off to something else.
Well, that's because they just don't have much to say about it at the moment. They obviously don't know how they're going to do it. It was just like, by the way, there is going to be a media tour in
Yes.
some form. It's going to
Yeah.
be around this time. Please look forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are gonna have to be very secure with
Yeah.
what they
I
show,
feel
'cause
like
they'll-
they won't allow people to connect with their own computers. I think they'll have different places set up for like just so they can be in a controlled environment.
Mm.
Mm.
Maybe, who knows?
Yeah,
I know
we'll see.
Square not Square specifically has done it, but I know Crystal Dynamics did it with not Tomb Raider, but with Marvel Avengers. before the
Yes,
beta
they did.
or before the demo came out or whatever of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They
Ubisoft
did
did
a
it with the most recent Assassin's Creed as well.
yeah
Ah,
yeah
I
they,
see.
they
Yeah.
did
Common
a
practice by
Okay.
now.
Okay.
So after that they had a live
Have
Q
a
and
couple
A.
of hubs.
Yeah. After that, they had a live Q&A. They had like 2 sections of a Q&A. They had a Q&A from people on like a stream, on a video, and then they had a Q&A after it, or which they took from the forum. I watched the one where they had people up on a screen asking questions, in which I feel like Yoshi P answered the first question way too long. Because the first question was, how do you come up with the names for the expansions? Like, what's the process for that? And he went through in depth of each almost of each expansion. I think he got the Shadowbringers, or he either got the Shadowbringers or like got past Stormblood and said I have to stop because he took like 10 to 15 minutes on one question.
Mm-hmm.
And he only answered like 2 to 3 more questions after that, like very quickly. I don't know. Were there any questions that were asked that you thought were interesting? If you went through that, Ethys, you're the
Yeah. I mean, there are a couple of things from the Q&A with Ichikawa,
Yeah.
in the second half of the live letter, which were pretty interesting. Specifically, her favorite character is Omega, which I think was really cool.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. I thought that was really interesting. Omega is her favorite character. When people were asking like, hey, can you give us any sort of insights or tips or whatever, leading into Endwalker, and she said, well, before Shadowbringers, I told you all to remember to do Crystal Tower, and I don't have anything like that specific for you this time, but it's going to be tying in everything, and I would encourage you to do like all of the side content, all the 8-mans, all the 24-mans, but
Yeah.
particularly and specifically to do Omega and Coil. Yeah. So
all right.
there's gonna be some dragons and Alligans and space travel shenanigan kind of stuff that will kind of help shed some light on the action of Endwalker for sure.
Yeah.
Interesting.
After seeing the trailer, when she said make sure to definitely do Omega, I was thinking, okay, well, there's gonna be some Midgar Summer stuff in there because
Yeah.
Yeah, surely, yeah, for sure. Other than that, a bit of trivia that Vertra is the youngest of Midgard's Ormus brood, which is not really actionable in any way, but an interesting piece of trivia. And that was really it for the really kind of like standout stuff for the Q&A for me.
All right. Continuing on with our theme of questions, there was a community little game that was recorded before FanFest.
Here we go.
Called "Who Wants to Be a Gillionaire," where they had two teams of 4 pit against one each other, Team Heidelin and Team Zodiark. Which I'm gonna go ahead and say this now. I don't know. Did you guys did people pick those teams, or did
you mean the team names or the teams?
No, the teams.
Oh, yeah. It was supposed to be like an NA versus EU kind of thing. And Frosty got grouped with EU because he has done stuff with like the Paris Fan Fest. He's worked with Clem closely a lot, who's the head of the EU community team. So yeah, and I guess they just I can't imagine why, but I guess they just couldn't think of like another English speaking like EU sort of community.
They claimed
person.
Frosty.
Yeah.
Tibbs.
So
he's EU now.
Could they not have asked Husky? Could they not have asked Husky? And they had Alex on there.
He may not have wanted to be. He may not have actually wanted to do stuff like that. Husky strikes me as fairly reserved.
Yeah, I don't know what the selection criteria was, but I know that it was loosely supposed to be an NA versus EU, and then we were basically asked to like choose our team names, and Frosty was like, I think it was Frosty anyway. Frosty was like, oh, we should do Heidelin v Zodiark, and everyone was just like, yeah, okay, let's do that. Cool.
Those teams were
keeps it on theme.
very unbalanced.
Oh yeah. Oh, massively.
Very unbalanced. Like next time, don't do a NA versus EU.
Well, so here's the thing about that, though. Even though the teams seemed unbalanced, because they were,
hmm
the show itself kind of balanced them out because
We did.
Yeah,
it in
no,
VOC.
for all NA,
yeah, they did it in
for all
post. Yeah.
NA's talents
Yeah.
on the fights, boy oh boy, they dropped the ball in answering just enough time to really feel like Zodiac had a chance if they only knew.
Mhm.
But like, so Team Heidelin had like at least 3 hard endgame raiders. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Zodiac didn't have one. At least I
Yeah.
don't think.
Yeah. I was
and
farming so hard because I was on call when they were doing the challenges and just like,
Yeah.
oh my fucking god.
Nah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But it was
Well,
supposed to be
I-
silly fun, and that's what it was. It
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah,
like
that's what it
serious.
was.
I feel the format was great. I love the format.
Yeah.
I want them to do this again. I think this is a really good thing to take going forward. Obviously it needs refining, but it's the first time they've done it. So yeah, I wasn't disappointed at all really.
I wasn't disappointed
I-
It
either.
was great.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was
just-
fantastic, I thought.
And the
I
and
mean,
the
let's be real
times.
here. We were all there for the personalities anyway, and they should.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
That one time Ethys got a question wrong, and he felt.
Yeah, listen. I choked. I had so many people coming to me like after it aired, being like, "Didn't you do Eureka?" I'm like, "Of course I did Eureka." "Didn't you read Essences and Permutations?" "Of course I read Essences and Permutations." The thing is, like, yes, I stream a lot and I make a lot of YouTube videos and stuff like that. but I still like I get nerves, I get anxious and I choke. And when I'm given a 30-second window and a clock in front of me that's going tick, 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 and a question that's about dispelling an ethereal barrier, which immediately makes me start thinking about like Azus La and that whole, process we went through with Garuda and all those quests and like looking at corrupted crystals and stuff like that. And, the gears start turning. And I do this thing on stream all the time, you guys know, when someone asks me a lore question, I walk circles around it for a couple of minutes, trying to give people like the context. And I was just like halfway through doing that work when Clem was like cutting me off, and I was like, ah, shit. Yeah. So I try, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. I was so anxious after we were done recording. I was like, man, people are going to like think I'm an absolute fraud. I'm never, ever, ever going to live this down. I'm gonna get thrown under the bus by this. It's gonna be so embarrassing. But no, people were pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
Because we
I got yeah. So Moose asked that question. Moose, we were told that basically we were going to write a question each, and it was going to act as like a tiebreaker. We weren't told that they were just going to like throw our questions in there. So that was a question that Moose wrote, and I was relieved when I found that out because I don't mind being stumped by Moose. And I thought, yeah, and I felt extremely vindicated when I got him back when he couldn't answer my question. But then I felt guilty because I realized that what he was doing was trying to find a question that would be like interesting and that would stump like the players, but then I would be able to get, and it would make me look really good. Whereas I came into it like, okay, I've got to find a question that I can get Moose with.
It's gonna be so esoteric that even Moose doesn't know.
Yeah, it was literally the most esoteric thing that I could find. It was only one mention of it anywhere. And
Oh my goodness,
I
I've
know
never
that
heard of it
Moose,
before.
yeah, that Moose has got like this huge database that he uses where he like will search for keywords and stuff like that and kind of pull stuff up. Obviously we weren't allowed to use anything like that at the time, but it's something that he would have read, maybe only once or twice and not for years. And I was like, this'll show him. Like Moose and I are good friends. There's a lot of like
Yeah.
projected competition between us. There's a lot of like Team Ethys, Team Moose kind of stuff going on in the community. And we hate that, but at the same time we always have a lot of fun like taking jabs
into
at
it.
each other and
Yeah.
having that sort of relationship.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Very
basically
good. Very good.
what we were doing. Yeah. So I was a little
Yeah.
bit salty when Larry like managed to guess the final question out of nowhere because I had that one downloaded and I was like, oh good, I'm at least gonna have a chance to like redeem myself a little bit here, and he just nailed it and I was like, you son of a bitch.
That was
I
that
came
was
out
the
of it.
Guardian rank question, right?
It
Yes,
was, yeah.
Yeah.
And he just completely guessed after calling Gaius Van Galvis.
Galvis, yeah.
Fuck you,
I
Larry.
had to do,
Wow.
I had to do some
Jeez.
serious like mental
Wonderful.
gymnastics to get that
Wonderful.
answer.
So
Yeah.
My
I
head,
so
'cause-
so here's the thing you have to think about that, all right?
Mhm.
You just have to think of Xenos. Xenos' middle thing is yay, all right?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
All right? All right.
Ye's royalty. Yeah.
Yeah, yay. There was only 2 answers that started with yay because it was highest to lowest. All right.
Mhm.
So you then immediately knocked out two of the answers.
Yeah.
So
I think it was Ye Van Tol.
it was
And
was
again, all-
ye- and one no, I think the
was it Tol or
answer,
Sus? It might have been Sus.
no, it was Toll then Sauce. It was yay Toll
Yeah.
Sauce. That was the answer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And the I guess the hard thing I was thinking about was like, okay, well, is Nero a higher rank than Livia?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to think about that for a second.
Mhm.
Because the other one was like the other one that started with yay was like yay sauce, or not sauce, but like sauce or something like that. It was something that was out of order, and I was like, okay, that one can't be it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was one that you had to think about for a second, but like, I don't know. It was one that I was like, oh, well, Larry's not going to get this, and then they'll just ask me, and I'll be vindicated. No,
Nailed it.
yeah. And at the end, it turned out that I got like a 10-second soundbite in the whole hour, and it was a soundbite of me looking like a fucking turkey.
And there's one you couldn't answer because it was your question.
Yeah,
And so,
exactly. And people were like,
Yeah.
it was this really like meta joke of the fact that it's so hard to get a hold of me sometimes, and me like not answering my phone and stuff. And people were like, "Ethys, are you kidding me?" Because like, I don't. It was so obvious it was pre-recorded, but you know, some people still kind of like bought into the illusion,
Me,
if you will.
I am one of
Yeah.
these people. I completely
Yeah.
forgot it was pre-recorded.
Yeah.
It was like,
I was
what do you
getting
mean you
people
just couldn't get
DMing
it?
me. I was getting people DMing me on Twitter and Discord,
Really?
like
That's
during
hilarious.
it, telling me to pick up.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so happy I figured it out. Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. So I was like,
Wonderful,
I've come out of
wonderful.
this looking dumb and unprofessional, and like I was so stressed about it over the last couple of weeks since we recorded it. I've been so fucking stressed,
Oh
but
no.
people were like really good humored about it, and for the most part, kind of
Yeah.
like got it and bought into that. It was just like this silly kind of pseudo scripted thing
Yeah.
Yeah.
that no one was taking too seriously, and I'm really glad the editors did a really, really great job of kind of
They
cleaning it all up
did. The
in post.
production value
Yeah.
was really good. They had this
Yeah.
spinny
Yeah. It
graphic
was
of
so
a coin
good,
with
yeah.
Yeah, it was really good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because like the
I like the
recording,
stage.
to be honest with you guys, the recording was a fucking mess. It was so hectic, and they did such a good job with it in post. They really did.
Well, that is great. I thought that this Gillionaire thing was actually going to be a live thing because I had forgot that you like recorded anything like weeks in advance. And then when because I got off the computer and I laid down for a little bit and I got back up and I looked and I saw, I was like, oh, it's like, okay, well the Gillionaire thing's up or whatever, I see Haps or whatever there, and then I see Hap because I have the Khadgar thing open. All right, so I see Haps on his stream and I'm like, this isn't the same, and I'm like, oh. This is pre-recorded.
Well, we were told to basically like pretend that it was live.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And kind of like lean into that.
Yeah.
Except for Haps because he was still streaming.
Yeah, it wasn't
Whoops.
a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was good. I hope they do something. I hope they continue. They could, like, if when we start having like FanFest live again, like actual in person, they could easily do this. Like,
Oh, that'd
Yeah.
be fantastic.
I hope so too.
That'd be really fun.
I would love to do this on stage. Like
Yeah.
I'm a little bit conflicted because on one hand, like there are so many influencers in the community that pull much bigger numbers than me. That could have been asked to participate in this, and the fact that I was thought of is incredibly flattering and gratifying and like a huge honor and all that. But the selfish side of me hopes that if we do it in future, that I can like get a little bit more into it. I would love to be on one of the teams. I'd love to host it, you know?
yeah.
I would love.
That'd be great.
I see.
yeah.
I thought you were hosting it.
Be-
I thought you were hosting it.
When they approached me, I was hoping, I was like daring to hope that they were going to ask me to like, when they said it was going to be like a lore trivia thing, I was like, oh shit, like this is my jam.
Yeah.
I was hoping that like Moose and I were going to be hosting it. And
That'd be
well,
great.
I mean, you know, like the community team, like they have to keep a hand on the wheel.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, it's their thing, and I completely understand that.
Sure.
But,
We see. Actually,
selfish-
I disagree with that. I disagree with that.
Oh.
Because they
Okay.
let Frosty host the PvP tournaments.
not solo.
Yeah, but I mean,
It was always Frosty and Clem.
But
Yeah.
I mean, Frosty was like the face of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And well, the thing is, like, what perhaps you don't see behind the scenes is there was a huge amount of micromanagement and scripting and rehearsals, like dozens of rehearsals to make sure that everything was going to be like 100% predictable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there was going to be no deviation whatsoever. So yeah, like I say, they absolutely do need to keep a hand on the wheel, and you know, that's important. That's really, really important. But yeah, again, like the selfish part of me hopes that if we do get to do this again, they'll be able to play a slightly bigger role. But you know,
Dare to
like I say,
dream, sir.
yeah, I was so delighted to be involved, and I was so delighted that Moose was involved as well, because
Yeah.
it's so. Yeah, it's so cool, like getting to do stuff with him and seeing him being recognized for, you know, the service that he's been putting into this community for 10 years now, you know?
And not
Completely
only
pro
that,
bono.
not only that, I mean, I'm pretty sure he got paid to do the edit for the lore book, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but
So-
apart from that, you know, the difference
Yeah.
between Moose and I is that I'm selfish, and I'm, you know, monetize everything that I do. and make a living out of it, whereas he just does it for like the love of the game and the community. And yeah, he's a huge a dear friend and a huge inspiration.
Yeah.
So needless to say, go follow fucking Anonymous on all of his
Mm-hmm.
socials.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
100%. He definitely does have a database, because like every time I look in the Ethys's Discord, he's like always linking some gigantic quote from his like vast database
In multiple
of
languages too, by the way. He cross references.
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, he's an
Yeah.
academic through and through.
Yeah, he's a true Charlene.
Yeah. he's like I'm like Lise, and he's
I wouldn't say lead.
Ethys is
I
playing
would-
fast and loose with the scions.
Yeah,
Moose is
yeah.
back in old Charlene, actually putting
Yeah.
books on shelves.
I would
Yeah.
say you're
Yeah.
probably
Like
more
a
like
Rambros.
Coryle, or maybe
Okay,
no, you're
fine.
more like Graha. There you go. How about
Okay,
that?
fine. I'm Graha, and he's Rambros.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll go with that.
I
Let's
like
go with
this.
that.
This is
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Next up,
Oh.
we have the best part of day 2, which was what everybody was waiting for, the Primals concert.
Mhm.
Mm.
Always the
It
highlight.
delivered. It
Which-
delivered.
They played a lot of songs, actually. They played a lot more than they normally did.
Yeah.
They went through. They went through and had a bunch of the songs that had Jason Charles Miller on it. On the track, which is a couple of the, which is the Shadowbringers, which they did at the end. They did To the Edge, which had him in it, and what was the other song? The battle theme, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All three of those they had, and then they brought in Amanda to do the Titania theme, and another theme. She did another theme. Which one was it?
Oh, I don't recall. I was delirious at that point.
Yeah, I think we all were. We were all just
I
like
don't remember
hyped,
one.
30.
hyped in the moment.
It was
Hype.
for you, yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, hyped in the moment, and going on Twitter just yelling. They had the cool little
So
moment.
there
Yes,
was-
absolutely.
There was one particular song we all recall, of course.
Oh yes, I mean the best song
Oh,
in
my
the game is A Long Fall, and we knew that they were going to do it. And then they brought out 4 of the dev team, including Foxclon, dressed up in the colors of a light party to do the dance for A Long Fall, and that was probably the most hilarious thing I've ever seen in my life, because like halfway through they were just like, okay, we got to stop and sit down on these stairs because it's very tense.
I've never been more endeared. I've never been more endeared to a band. My goodness.
They in the middle of Titania, they stopped and introduced the band members. I think after Titania is when they brought in Koji to do the Ultima theme, and then they did A Long Fall.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Hey, do you want to see this guitar do Limit Break?" And then they did Titan, and then in the middle of Titan, Yoshi P came out on stage and rapped with Koji during the Titan
So
theme,
great.
which was hilarious.
So
Also-
great. I mean, it wasn't good, but it was amazing.
And then after that, they're like, "What are the boots you're wearing?" "Oh, I'm just wearing these like $1,300 pair of boots that are what Noctis wears in this fucking video game."
Yeah.
He came out on this. He came out on the stage pretty much looking like Tetsuya Nomura.
Yeah, he was clearly designed by Nomura. That.
Yeah, and then they told him to
It
get off
makes
the
sense.
stage.
Look at all the rings, the spiky
Yeah,
hair. Then
yeah,
they kicked
yeah.
him off. Yeah.
Then they kicked him off the stage. He was like, "This is the Primals concert.
Primals only.
You're the P. Get out of here." And then he fucking sang Sag Biako as he walked off the stage, which was
That is what that was. Okay.
yeah. Yeah, he was like, "We can
didn't
do
recognize
Biako."
it, but I was like, he sang at the last fan fest. I wonder if that's what he was singing.
Yeah.
Alas,
Yeah.
I don't speak
Yeah.
this language. So.
He did it in such a sad tone. He was like, "I want to keep singing."
I want to see. So, community. Listen, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go in, find that moment, and just play the Sad Hulk outro music.
Oh,
Aw.
I need this in my life. Yeah, exactly. If
Well,
you could-
you can go back and do
Oh.
it yourself. The streams are still up on YouTube.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they're still
Never
still
mind,
fully
I-
up on
hey,
YouTube.
Hey, community, you gotta beat me to it first.
And then after that, you saw this guy come out on stage and slowly put a trumpet behind Soken, as Soken was telling you, "Hey, look, this is what my guitar does. My $3,500 guitar that is Final Fantasy 14 made. Where
Quick
I
moment,
press
because we do
Yeah.
have to talk about that guitar.
okay,
like-
yeah,
So it's $3,500 for us.
yeah.
To Ethys's point a while ago, do you want to know how much Felice found out that guitar was worth for him?
It's like $7,000.
It was like
Oh,
6-7K.
please.
Yeah,
Oh, my God.
goodness.
yeah. It's ridiculous.
do not misunderstand. I recognize that's a Fender Stratocaster. I recognize it's a very good guitar, and I recognize that
Yeah.
it does something that Fenders don't typically do. Oh, sorry, that's really expensive for a guitar,
What's-
mate.
What's
Yeah,
funny-
you can get
what's
a
funny-
Fender for like 500
No.
quid. Like,
What's
Yeah,
funny
but
is that
that's
Fender
not a
has
Stratocaster.
no.
That's fair enough.
It's a limit break caster.
Yeah, like
What I was saying is I don't even necessarily hate that it's expensive because I realize what it is. I realize that it's not just a guitar, it's a commemorative item.
Yes,
But
yes.
I was a little underwhelmed by the way it looked. I was hoping for like give me a an Asian mask or something, a design like that. Because the purple and the blue, the Highland and the Zodiac crystals, they're neat, but they don't do much for the design. And to be fair, I wanted this thing to be fuck off obnoxious.
oh,
I
you wanted it
didn't
to be
want it to
like
be
full
classy.
glam metal, did you?
Yeah.
Yes, I
I
absolutely
like
did.
that it was kind of like subtle and understated. I thought that was classy.
But it doesn't matter because he
mean,
presses a button and and the two extra pick up the strings, man, and it makes a wah.
So I'll be honest, he made a big deal of that, and I was just thinking, yeah, so it gets a bit louder and slightly distorted.
It's just a built-in pedal, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's a
Like-
cool little gimmick, but you know, it's
Yeah,
what it is.
I was thinking like, yeah, sure, you're saving on a pedal, but are you? Because it's a bit more expensive than the typical. So
Yeah, look, a Stratocaster, you'll be lucky to get one for $1,000. So
yeah, I was imagining they're about $1,200.
yeah, and the fact that these are like made to order, you know, handcrafted, I don't think they're gonna be making that much money out of them.
Oh, they're not. They're not
no,
going to make.
I absolutely agree with you.
They don't make much money
I'm
out of
just
the
saying-
physical stuff they sell.
No.
I'm just saying, as someone who doesn't play guitar, but who knows a little bit about it, if you had thrown on La Habrea's mask on like the design up front, I'd have been more inclined to imagine.
No,
parting with
milk the
'cause I don't have
money.
that kind
Get
of money.
Hades. Everyone fucking loves that guy.
It's true. My goodness, if you like actually made the body into one of the many masks. he
Yeah.
has. Oh yeah, like you were showing, that would have been one. Just any of the sigils, I would have been down. Whether it be
Indeed,
Yeah.
yeah.
really
Yeah.
any of them.
Well,
But yeah, no, it's a really neat collector's item.
Mm.
If you can afford it.
he shows off the guitar.
He does, yeah.
Pretty nice. Somebody puts a trumpet behind him, and everybody's like, he's about to do brute
Oh,
justice.
you know what that means.
All right. He picks up the
Yeah.
trumpet. He plays brute justice. Then they play Rise, and then I thought they
Yeah.
were gonna end on Escape. All right, but they didn't. They played Locust, and I was like, oh, okay, all right, because I thought Escape was about to happen. Because it kind of felt right, but I everybody loves Locust as well, so
Mhm.
it was fine either way. And then they were like, okay, goodbye, we're leaving. But little did we all know, there's a nice little video of them coming up to a PC, a laptop with a controller on it, and then it was like, and then it went to a screen where it shows Ardbert, and he's like, if you could dance with the Primals one more time, would you? Like he did in the end of Shadowbringers. And obviously, you had the choice of like, of course I could, like, of course I would. And then they played the Shadowbringers.
Of course,
theme.
I would dance all night long.
Yeah. And then they played Shadowbringers, brought back Jason Charles Miller for the last hoorah.
Yeah.
And then the Primals was over. And then they had their ending ceremony.
So good.
And their ending ceremony was really sad
Hold on.
because
It wasn't
hold on.
all
It was
sad, but
bittersweet.
boy, oh
It was bittersweet,
It was
yeah.
bittersweet. Yeah. It wasn't sad, because it was a big
No.
relief at the end.
yeah.
I mean, it's
Um,
always going to be a little sad because they're ending. But
Yeah.
Yes.
but there was a bit more to it this time. We'll get there. It was really nice for the devs to come back out again.
Mhm.
Because I think that we
They do
hype
that
them
every
up,
year.
the fan base. It's
Yeah.
true, but we the fan base will hype them up. But it's nice to see them because I think
Yeah.
Yeah.
even the players we kind of get so enamored with Koji and Yoshi P and Fox Clan
And
that
Soken.
we forget the faces of okay. We forget the faces of all these other excellent people. So it's nice that they come out and they remind us that it's a team to be recognized. I
Yeah.
very much
Yeah.
bless them both translators.
Oh, the new translator too. I forgot to mention her. She did a
Well,
great
she's not
job.
the
Yeah.
translator.
Well,
She
she
did.
she's the new localization lead.
Yeah, she's
She
basically
was
taken
shaking like a
Koji's old job.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was so nervous at the start. I wanted to hug her. She's doing really well, though.
She did great. She did great.
Yeah.
She's
was
like, I'm
awesome.
terrified.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had her. Aimee couldn't be there because of COVID.
Mhm.
And they had a new translator that I'm pretty sure not like a new translator, that it's just she doesn't get used very much in the big events.
I did mistake her for Amy. So
Yeah.
Okay.
You were like, that's
so
Aimee.
better
I'm like,
look was had.
I'm
Of course it
that
is.
doesn't sound like Aimee.
You're right. It doesn't.
So they went through each dev, and like each developer, or community director, and they said like their closing statements. And then Soken had like an important message to say. He revealed that back in March, back around March, he'd been hospitalized because he had been diagnosed with cancer.
This is March
and-
2020, by the way, not
yeah,
this year.
yeah, not this year, yeah. Around the time where right a little bit before 5.3 was coming out, and so he had revealed that he wrote to the Edge while he was in the hospital, and that only 3 other people in the company knew that he had been diagnosed with cancer, which was Koji, Yoshi, and Matsuda. Nobody else in the dev team knew, because he wanted to keep working. He didn't want anybody to treat him any differently, and he wanted Yoshida to keep making him work because he needed something to like live for. And man, I've only seen Yoshi P cry once. All right. And this was the second time. The first time was like right after ARR launched, and there were like so many problems. This was a little heartbreaking. It was
No one wants to watch their dad.
no, nobody wants to watch their dad cry. Yeah.
Well,
No.
it was. I felt good for him because it was obviously a huge relief. He's been shouldering
Yes,
this
exactly.
Yeah.
burden, and the fact that Soken was finally at a place where he could come out and like share it with the rest of the dev team would have been such a
Yeah.
huge relief.
Yes.
for
This is why I
Yoshida.
say it's not completely sad, because I
No,
think it's
no,
wrong
it's
to say
bittersweet.
that.
Yeah.
It was
And he
And
said
also
he's
the same, like, I've got my best friend back, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah,
so,
Yeah.
that's so
exactly.
wonderful. Yeah.
Oh my
Um,
god, like his actual choice of words was so
Mhm.
it's like watching it was so innocent, it was like watching a young child speak about like their first best friend.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
It
Wow.
really I guess like typifies the success of 14's dev team, and particularly their PR and their community management,
Yeah.
in being
Mhm.
so completely transparent and relatable.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's really like the sort of culmination of all of that work to be able to like be so vulnerable with your community
Yeah.
in an event like that is just really it was really special.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Man. And I haven't went back and listened to the Edge, but I saw a lot of people go like the song hits a lot differently after the
Mhm.
reveal.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's very personal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I still need to actually go complete Seed of Sacrifice, like the extreme.
Great fight.
Yeah, it is a great fight. Yeah, it was. God, it was just something like it was something to end on, is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Because we just had like all this like hype moments. No, but he did say he's he's pretty much almost in full remission, which is great.
He had told us.
Yeah, and he's got the okay to like fully come back and work. So
which is good because we saw him at the give a 2-hour concert. So
yeah,
good to know he wasn't actually really forcing himself through that.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was
God,
FanFest in the entirety.
Yeah.
It was amazing. FanFests are always astounding. It's kind of, I guess it shouldn't be, but it's a little surprising to me that they're able to keep that magical feeling digitally.
Yeah,
But they did, and it was great. I genuinely am already at that post FanFest feeling where
Depression,
I'm like, I
yeah.
can't wait for the next one. I need
Yeah, like I
need it
feel
again.
because of the strength and the love of the community, that is one of the main reasons why it felt so great, even though it's all digital. And it's not just the community management, it is the fan base as well, and the players, of course. And just like mentioned, Ethys said about with the transparency and being able to be so open and vulnerable with members of your community as well. Like I can't recall any other dev team that had that same connection.
So last week we had the question of what our favorite developer or publisher was, and I specifically stated the Business Unit 3, Creative Business Unit 3.
Yeah.
And this weekend has solidified that answer.
Yeah.
For me.
Mm-hmm.
There has been no other development team that has done anything remotely close to this team. Actually, this team is honestly single-handedly saved Square.
Well, we know that is a fact.
Yeah, we know that as a fact. They turned what was what was like the crappiest game on the market to one of the best games on the market and made it immensely profitable. So
yeah, and it was they were in a bad place financially after the flop of the original, the vanilla. And again, it's been something that the company's been able to rely on through other releases that perhaps haven't done the numbers they were expecting. I am at no point blaming 15. Wait, what? Why did I say that? What?
You mean
but no, like, but no, like 14 is like is currently the golden child, and it's no surprise that the team has been seen for what they are, and Yoshi's been put in a position of leadership, and I'm sure others internally have been jostled about as well.
Yeah,
rightfully so. Like, this is golden, and it's to the point where you see them on a project, and it's all optimism.
This is why I have
cynicism is gone.
Yeah, I have like complete faith in 16 to be at least a decent game, just because I know the team that is working on it. I have a $200 bet on it, so
that's like the safest bet in the world. Goodness, who took the bet against you?
My friend, who is the most cynical motherfucker on the earth. So
yeah, cynical and poorer $200. He just doesn't know it yet.
Yeah. So, but that's all FanFest. It was great. It was a great weekend. We should probably get the wrapping this up because it's a 3.5 hour recording at the moment.
Fair.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, what
Time
are you
flies.
playing this week, people? I know what Ethys is doing this week, but what are you guys doing this week?
He's a busy boy. For me, it's going to be mostly Monster Hunter. I finally want to uncap at some point. I've not had the time. I probably still am not going to have the time, but it's my goal. I wish Guilty Gear was still up. I wish New Genesis was still up because I didn't get to put the time that I wanted into either of them. But I mean,
Same.
betas are betas. So
This weekend was hell when it came to timing shit.
everything happened at once.
Yeah. I'm gonna be playing Monster Hunter as well. I have to do freaking Rampage by myself because it's a freaking village quest. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I don't like the
You'll finally get that
rampages.
tutorial I was talking to you about.
Yeah, that's where I'll get it.
I swear it exists.
Yeah, and yeah, I'll be popping into 14 as well. I've got things to do, things to catch up with. That's my life.
All right, big man. What are you gonna? How are you gonna have no time this week?
Who's the big man? Is that me or Aqua?
Yeah, that's you.
You
That's
are the
you.
big man.
You're big man.
I'm not that big.
I couldn't act daddy, so.
Oh, jeez. I
Oh God.
honestly,
No,
I'm
Mike's name is Big
probably-
Daddy.
oh god, I'm probably not gonna have time to play 5.55 for a couple of weeks, which is tragic. I'm hoping to get a couple of
Yeah.
videos out, but again, like I'm gonna be having such a hectic couple of weeks. But you know, hopefully I'll be back in Australia and settled up in Melbourne soon enough, and we can kind of get back at it.
Yep.
So
Keep
yeah,
us appraised. We want to make sure you're safe.
absolutely. What about you, Aqua?
I've got a lot of Mass Effect to play.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is 3 games. I will definitely be playing. I mean, 5.55 is not coming out. Well, I mean, actually, will we have another episode before 5.55? Yeah, we will have the episode of the night before.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm probably just gonna be playing a lot of Mass Effect. I might hop into to 14 to maybe do some more cluster farming. At some point in time I need to do the primals, all the primals for Shadowbringers because I want that Mecha Dragon. The Mecha Dragon looks so cool. Oh, by the way, thank you for the lunar whale, Ethys.
You're welcome.
I'm glad you didn't have to pay $100 for it.
So am I, because
Oh, yeah.
I was prepared to, honestly.
I would have tried to fly to Norway soon enough to smack the shit out of you.
Yeah, I know, but I was committed.
I'd have been like, God, I would have felt so bad. I'd have felt extremely bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mass Effect and some 14. I would play New Genesis, but it's not out yet, so feels bad, man. Oh, and making that New Genesis first impressions video. We'll be definitely doing that.
Yeah.
Like I said at the beginning of this podcast, there's a big red button under the video or like the screen. It says subscribe. It is completely free. It doesn't cost anything. It costs energy, is what it costs. Like the kinetic energy of you moving your finger to touch it. That's all it costs. Press the button, please.
And if there's anyone that has managed to happen chance and stumble upon this video, hello, thank you for listening to the very end. If you want to know who Ethys is, could you tell us your details, please, sir?
Yeah, you guys can find me, Ethys Asher, on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, pretty much anywhere, but those are my main 3 spaces. If you hadn't gathered, it's a lot of Final Fantasy XIV lore content for the most part, is what I do and how I do it. Guys, thank you so much for having me on. It's always such a delight. We all go way back, and it's always just like so cool having an excuse to hang out with you guys and shoot the shit for a couple hours. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to
I would say
to join
any
us.
time, but that's a lie. But sometime, definitely
What?
sometime.
This will
sure.
be easier for you when you're back in Australia because during this time it's the middle of the fucking day.
Well,
yeah, it's
that brings its
evening.
own challenges.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does bring its own
Well,
challenges. Yes.
We'll figure
Yeah.
it out when it comes
Yeah.
around again. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
As
yeah.
always, thank you for turning up. We are excited as always to have you. It is, like
Yep.
you said, good to chat. And maybe again. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Definitely.
Next six. Oh, actually, we're gonna have some 16 news in June. I'm betting on it.
I hope so.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk to you guys next week. Bye bye.
All right,
Bye.
be good.
Bye.